All right, it's 6:00 p.m. I'm going to call the council to order. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Councilmember Troy Smith is going to have our prayer, and tonight we're going to have a special prayer for Elder Joe Ray and his family, who just lost their home a couple of nights ago in a house fire. So if we'll all remember him as we stand.
Bow your heads. Father God, it's another time, God. We graciously get together tonight, God, and we first want to just thank you, Lord, that one, you're in this presence, God, and we just thank you, God, that you are in and around our daily lives, and we just ask, God, that you would just watch over us through this meeting, that you would instruct us with what you would have us to do each and every step of the way as we take care of the city business, God. And we also just want to lift up Pastor Joe Ray and his family tonight, God, and the things that they are now dealing with, God. And I know you know that you're with him, God, and he knows that too. But in times like this, it's just there's just tumultuous times, and so I'm just asking, God, that you would just grant grace to him and his family, and that you would provide protection over them as they find their way, and we just ask that you would go with the community as they wrap their arms around them, God, and they give and hand out the things that they stand in need of. And we ask all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now the Texas flag. On the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Y'all may be seated. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. It's a regular council meeting, December 4, 2025. Again, as I just mentioned, we had a fire in our community this week. Pastor Joe Ray and his family, 4 individuals were residing in that home. It's pretty well burnt to the ground as far as it's not inhabitable anymore. So 4 people have been dislocated. So I do know, I saw a few minutes ago that Southwestern Adventist University has posted about a GoFundMe account that was done by one of the daughters of Pastor Joe Ray. And so they're looking for any kind of community support to help them basically clear the lot. I understand they had no insurance on the home. It was probably an electrical fire. So right now the critical needs is just having the lot cleared so they can decide what they want to do, whether to rebuild or whether to sell and stuff. And there may be some other accounts out there that will help individual family members as they now, like I said, are displaced and finding new places to live. So we'll do what we can as a community to support them. Okay, for my mayor announcements, agenda item number 2, we have a Christmas market this Saturday and Sunday, so that's pretty exciting. On Saturday, it's from noon to 8 with a tree lighting at 5:45 to 6, followed by a movie in the park, Polar Express. Is that still on? Okay. On Sunday, the market will be open from noon to 5. The parade is going to start after that at 6:30 on Sunday. It's going to be starting at Pegasus Landing and traveling down Old Betsy to the gymnasium, and fireworks will follow, and Mr. Knott's going to tell us more about that during public comments. Also on Saturday at the Keene Seventh-day Adventist Church, there will be a Keene Worship Choir musical. They will be presenting A Holy Night at 11:30 during the summit service, and again at 5:30 p.m. in the evening. And this is, of course, located at the church at 114 South Fairview Street. Admission is free. So if you want to take part in that, make plans this weekend. So we have lots of stuff going on. I do want to thank the staff for our lovely Christmas decorations. Y'all did a fabulous job. Who did that? Thank you. You all did a fabulous job. I think it's the first time that we've had it decorated. So it looks great. All right, so we are in the middle of a runoff election. Just to give you some updates on that, there's 3 more days left of early voting, tomorrow and then Monday and Tuesday. Tomorrow from 8 to 5. You can vote at the Walnut Street location in Cleburne or at the Keene City Hall in the little room to the left of the lobby. So we have Caleb Bowl and Samantha Gillen. They're candidates for place 1. And Thomas Gutwa and Charles Easley are incumbents, both running for Ward 3. So you can vote at either of those locations during early voting, but I believe on Election Day, we just vote here, correct? Okay, on Election Day, which is Saturday, remember that it's a Saturday now, December 13 from 7 a to 7 p, you're going to vote here, I believe still in the little room off the lobby? Okay, little room off the lobby. So far to date, we have about 135 people that have voted. So not a big number yet. Hopefully it's going to pick up. Okay, that's all my announcements for tonight. Council, do you have anything else that you would like to add as an announcement? No? Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 3, public comments. Paul Knott, if you will come give us some updates about the parade.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for this opportunity. Just want to remind you and those watching online that our 29th annual Keene Christmas Light Parade and Fireworks Show is this Sunday, 6:30 p.m. The parade starts. A couple of new things this year. First of all, there's no horses because of the virus, so we're not allowing horses. And that's the first time in the history of the parade we won't have horses. So, and then also we're experimenting with a new site, and that is Pegasus Landing of Chisholm Trail, formerly known as Chisholm Trail Estates. And this is all about safety and security. We found it's just been too dark and dangerous to use Mockingbird. The street is too narrow, and some of the residents would rather go their own way there than follow the instructions of our staff. So it just puts everyone in danger. So we're going to be on Old Betsy, and it's exactly 1 mile from the entrance to, or the exit to Pegasus Landing to the parking lot at Southwestern Adventist University Leisky-Poulter Gymnasium parking lot. So we're looking forward to that. There'll be some new security measures that you'll see. Some will be very obvious, like the implementation this year of Keene ISD school buses, thanks to Dr. Stevens for his offering those for us to use to block off some streets. And that frees up some of our police and other first responder personnel to be other places. So we already have 47 volunteers involved, and I do want to thank Chief James Kidd and Chief Dan Warner, Police and Fire respectively, for all their help in the planning. So fireworks right after the parade, approximately 7:30. So we have a float for you. Councilman Easley is organized with the mayor, has their own float, and that'll be nice, and then a float for the city council people. So very good, and that's, I think, the second year we've done council float, so thank you. So we will see you Sunday night.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Knott. All right, Nellie Youngberg.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Nellie Youngberg, and I'm the owner of Mountain Coffee. I just wanted to say this is the first runoff of 2025 that Keene has. And in that, I wanted to invite everybody, including the community. Anybody that votes gets a little sticker. Come down to the coffee shop, get a 25% off a coffee or a hot drink, and promote and encourage our community to go out and vote. I know Mr. Easley already voted. Bring your little hashtag I voted, and you can still weigh in.
All right,
So that's
thank you,
it.
Nellie. All right, and Mr. Smith would like to speak.
A couple of weeks ago, I got an email from our city manager asking if I wanted to join a celebration of Thanksgiving to his staff, which is our beloved City of Keene employees. Although I wasn't able to go, I already had a thankful heart for their hard work and dedication. Recently, I was aboard a Disney cruise ship in Galveston. I got to witness people coming onto the ship for the first time. There's a grand entrance where the names are called of each person in line of people, and they clap as you come through. My niece, who is on the ship, she said the words, "The workers are on stage." And of course, I knew what that meant. On stage means making every attempt to make the guests feel like they're at home or royalty or just feel good about themselves. At the end of the day, in the Disney world, it's all about the guest experience. As we have seen our city manager, Mr. Jonathan Seitz, his team is doing just that, on stage for us, the citizens. As this fluid city works, fires come up, maybe not literally, Chief, but issues arise and the departments respond accordingly. This is the culture he has created. I humbly get to watch as I go to the back hallways of the city and see these things: compassion, urgency, desire, determination, grit, toughness, boldness, and courage. You name it, these employees bring it. In fact, I walk these halls enough, I believe I have new family members because of that. We speak to each other about our lives. Sometimes I feel like they are speaking existence into my life, and quite possibly God maybe brought me here to do the same for all of you. Either way, it is and always will be a privilege to serve not only the citizens, but our staff as well. In the Bible, it speaks about the body of Christ. In the same regard, each of us up here, as well as our city staff, plays a huge role embodying what this city represents. We collectively are being watched, looked up to, possibly snarled at times, belittled and scoffed. To the naysayers, I say it won't work on me. Last regular meeting, I had a gentleman come at me with his true feelings on the line at this very podium. I stood resilient in the midst. I didn't waver. Our employees of the city sit among us at times, and they also take the abuse. But they all hold a composure, a higher standard of excellence, which maybe wasn't what they would have implored to do, but with the great leadership comes great new leaders. I know Thanksgiving is over, but I want to say a huge thank you to the staff across the board. Notice I didn't say top to bottom, because you all have a role to play. Lastly, Jonathan, I want to thank you for your leadership. We talk often, and I find myself growing in ways that I never thought possible. Your experience in business have put you in a great place here at the city. The citizens will start to see very shortly the progress and drive you have grown, that you have to grow this city in a proper way. As our conversations have progressed, I know without a doubt the successes you will have here and will be remembered for them. So thank you, staff, for your hard work, and please stand with me as we salute the employees that work here.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Okay, that was all the yellow cards that I had. Is there anybody that is present that would like to speak during public comments that did not complete a yellow card? Okay, then we're going to move on to agenda item number 4. This is reports. I'm sorry, did somebody want to speak? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand. I wasn't looking at council. All right, Mr. Easley, go ahead.
So in regards to Joe Ray, I've been just this evening before council started talking with his daughter Carmen. She's asked me to help out with putting together a volunteer group to help clean up some of the debris inside and maybe even find a company to take that down. So I'm working on names and stuff right now.
Okay.
So I may be into being the contact person for that. I'm not sure. I'm going to try
Okay.
to pass it off, but we'll see.
All right, thank you, Mr. Easley. Okay, anyone else? Did I miss anybody? Okay, agenda item number 4, reports. A, city manager's comments. Mr. Seitz?
Well, if I'd have known Troy was going to do that, I would have asked me go first. So thank you. It was very unexpected, and it is a real pleasure and honor to serve this city. And I know I don't make everybody happy every day, but we do try our best. And so there are exciting things. So let me get into the report. I am going to start with something that's not on the agenda, only because I promised Dr. Stevens that I would get him home in time for the Cowboys game. And he's had a few very busy days, and the poor man is probably exhausted. So the last several days, we've actually hosted the Texas Association of School Administrators, and very similar to the one we did in the spring, which was more smaller schools, this was all larger ISD. And I had the pleasure of getting to speak just briefly, but then also spend some time here and there when time allowed to just kind of witness what was going on. And what he's done is an exact, is so often you see something great and we kind of just assume, oh, that was by accident. And I can promise you great things 99% of the time don't happen because of accidents. And so I was kind of asking him these questions early this afternoon because I wanted to speak to it. And then as he started getting passionate and talking about the good that's continuing to come out of this, he was like, well, maybe I should come. And I was like, that would be great. Because at this point, I'm getting like carpal tunnel trying to write all this information down. But the same thing I shared with the superintendents, and I told them on behalf of city managers everywhere, we don't give enough credit to our educational systems that are within our cities because I can tell you right now, my sister didn't move her kids here because of a city manager. She moved her kids here because she wanted her kids to go to an amazing school. And she got to witness what Dr. Stevens has done for this community firsthand. So at this point, I'll invite him to come up and just say a little bit about what he and his team have accomplished, and now it's making an impact throughout the state of Texas.
Good. Thank you for the invitation. Councilman, Ms. Mayor, thank y'all for being here tonight. One thing I know from being on the other side of the city kind of thing with the school is none of y'all have to be here. A couple of you do. But everybody else is here strictly voluntary. And especially in the election season, not only are you voluntarily here, you also are taking the beatings that come voluntarily. So a big thank you to all 2, 3, 4 of y'all that are in the runoff. I know a lot of times that's difficult, but we do appreciate you being willing to represent our community. Speaking as a citizen that lives at 608 Woodlawn, right up 150 yards up the hill, we have a great city. It is a super city. I know we get all tied up in all the stuff that social media puts out there, and you would say newspaper back in the day, but we don't really have one. Thank goodness, kind of sometimes. But this city is amazing. The people that run the city, the people that just live in the city, the people you see at the Dollar General, the people that you see at the Sonic, the people that you see at the bank. I mean, it's hard to find anybody in this town that you wouldn't be glad to say they live where I live. And so I just want to say, as a community member and also somebody who runs the school here, thank you for all of y'all and everything that you do. I do want to let you know a little bit what was happening, because if you happen to drive by Wednesday or Thursday, the parking lot was full. And if you got excited early on that there was 1,000 people voting in the early voting, it was good, because I voted Tuesday morning at like 8:05, and there's like 10 of us in line. But we actually are part of the Texas Association of School Administrators. It's a superintendent group. And they started about a decade ago, something called the Future Ready School Leadership Network, that brings superintendents together, and they go throughout the state of Texas finding school districts that are doing innovative things, school districts that are reaching kids in a unique way, and they ask them to host. And at that time, they bring in about 45 of the districts, and it ends up being 4 people a district. So you run about 140 to 150 administrators. So we had the opportunity to host in March what's called the Small Schools Network, which is all the schools that are 1,350 kids and below. To give you a size idea, Grandview's at about 1,400, so they were a little bit too big. We're at 1,139, so we were right at the top. So we hosted that, and that day it was 35 superintendents and about 95 administrators. And we were able to show them what we started about 10, 11 years ago. And a lot of you have heard me speak at Chamber of Commerce about the Keene 22 and our house system. The Keene 22 is something that we are all in at Keene, and it's trying to create better humans. We're trying to do things that make our kids, when they walk across the stage, be better people for having gone to Keene ISD. And it has caught fire across the state that we're doing that. After those people left in March, we hosted 100 more teachers over 3 days that their principals and superintendents sent them back to Keene to see what we were doing with those kind of things. They then asked us for the first time ever if we would do the big school one, which was basically the same school district doing the same event twice. So we had 43 school districts and 143 administrators here in central office. Here in City Hall the last 2 days. It started out at Railroaders Park on Tuesday night. We brought them in, a beautiful setting up there in the community room. We took them down on the baseball field with the lights on. We threw a big old plastic ball. They hit it with a plastic bat, and the Jumbotron exploded with their house. And that was the part of their initiation into, you're about to experience 2 days of what Keene does, and you can't understand it unless you understand what we do with the houses. Then they came over here. We did the whole thing here at City Hall. Then half of them went and toured our school and saw what we do in the classrooms and how we've innovated. We flip-flopped that. And then last night, if you happen to have driven by the field in the last couple of days, we have a huge tent out on the football field. We knew it was going to be cold, so we had a Christmas luau. And our Marshallese population came and danced and sang. Today, superintendents from San Antonio, superintendents from down around Austin were standing up with tears in their eyes about what happened last night, seeing how that community is involved. And it is a really cool thing. One of the things that's really kind of pertinent, we try to do the Keene 22 is really not about a bunch of little bitty rules. It's about things that we can make those kids better humans. And today they got to experience what we call the great debate. If you've never had a chance to see that, I don't know if any of y'all have been a part of that, but it is a year-long contest that's for fifth graders that culminates in 5 of them being on stage in front of the school board at night with a lot of their peers and families, and they actually go to war for about 30 minutes, debating things like a 4-day school week, whether or not the summer should be longer with shorter breaks, whether or not standardized testing, whether or not they think that kids should be disciplined at school for bullying off campus. I mean, legit things. And the reason that we do that, I think it's so pertinent, even in this election season and especially in our national politics, we have a lot of problems in America now of being able to argue without anger and disagree without hate. And what we want to really do to our kids is when they walk across that stage and when y'all are in those bleachers and you see them going across, we want them to be able to disagree with Jonathan about something and disagree with Ricky about something and disagree with Mr. Shaw about something. And then after we've had it out, shake hands, go get 25% off their hot chocolate. I do need to know how I do that since I've already voted and I didn't get a sticker. Okay. But we want our kids to be able to really do that. If we can do those kind of things, then we're going to create better humans. And what it does for us, it makes our kids globally competitive. Because we aren't able to ever build a multi-million-dollar CTE facility like Cleburne. We'll never have a natatorium like Mansfield. We'll never have the ability to build a plane like Granbury did a few years ago. But our kids, if they can look you in the eye and shake your hand, say, my name's Ricky Stevens, I'd like a job, they're going to be competitive with all those kids that have done all those things. And so we just wanted to let you know, because what I also feel and how I really feel this ties into the community is there are now 90 superintendents across the state of Texas and over 250 administrators that when they hear the name Keene, they don't do what I heard forever 13 years ago. Where's that? They now know where it's at. And immediately what they're saying is, man, you got to go there. That's a cool place. And they don't necessarily just mean the ISD. They mean the city. Because we have unbelievable educational institutions here throughout the city, unbelievable people, an unbelievable city. And when the public school is going good, it pours over to everyone. The last thing I'll say, then I'll get out of here because they are about to kick off, I think. And I promised Paul I'd beat him out of here, but he's here still. Paul normally gets out when you're not looking. But our school has really become the school of choice in Johnson County, in a county with a lot of really good schools. 39% of our kids pass up a bus stop, they pass up driving to their school, and they come to Keene ISD as transfers. Because when given the choice, we heard all this stuff from all this stuff in the state about school choice, vouchers. Oh, what's it going to do to the public school? We've never been afraid of that here, because we already know when kids have a choice, they seem to come toward Keene. And that's what Keene's always been about. It's always been about the city on the hill. It's always been about the university. Whenever the train used to come in, they told me when I got hired here, they used to say, next stop is the holy city. Because, in a good way, right? Because that's what we want to be. We want to be the light. If you remember Ronald Reagan, or was it George Bush that talks about the 1,000 points of light? That's what we want to be at Keene. We want to be the place that people want to go to, that they want to be there because they know that their people are going to love them. They know that their city is going to care for them. They know they're going to be there. And we really do appreciate, I appreciate personally y'all's support because it's the little things. It's the little comments at a gas station. It's the little comments after a meeting. It's the little talking that we've had at times. It's your kids coming to our school that, it's the mayor coming and visiting. It's all these things. It's Jonathan talking, all those little things that you may not think are big things, but they're big to us because it lets us know that you support us. So anyway, that's what we were doing. Appreciate your time, and I hope y'all have a great meeting.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Ricky.
Dr. Stevens.
Dr. Stevens, thank you very much. And also, one thing you didn't mention is now they're actually looking to his school to actually send teachers here to train. And
That's the next step.
And so the wild thing for me is getting to kind of get to see this firsthand. I was asking kind of, how many schools or how many students are you over? And of course I'm going 1,000, 2,000. So finally I'm doing increments of 5. And finally I had to stop and point to this one lady. I said, how many students are you over? And she said 52,000. That was the caliber of people that were in our building and in our city. And Ricky with, his staff is leading.
They were listening to Poor Little Us.
Yeah.
It was truly amazing. It was emotional.
So I appreciate letting me add that to the report because it really was just, it's easy to have pride for, and kind of what he said there at the end too, and you can go because I know you have Cowboys, but it kind of leads into, I really appreciate what Troy said, but my staff hears it all the time, and I want the city to hear it. The Lord's timing, he's going before us, and the Lord's timing is just amazing to me, because some of these things I'm going to talk about, I'm going to speak to that. But something that he started, again, it wasn't by accident, 10 years ago, is now influencing the great state of Texas, here in our wonderful little city. So. All right, now to my report. Okay, so Fairview Street, Dawn said they kind of did a walkthrough. There's still a few little things that we have to clean up, but for the most part, it's done. So that's kind of exciting. One street at a time. It's going to take time, but we're getting there slowly but surely. So that's good. So I appreciate the residents that lived on that street, the patience. I know it was very frustrating for a while there, especially since it took longer than we thought. But being a guy that actually used to work in construction, it's kind of normal, it seems like. Another thing I wanted to highlight was our city secretary. She was, on November 20th, our city secretary served on a panel for a workshop on laserfish and records management. They invited her, and she presented as someone from the archive profession as well as a small local government office. There were about 50 people in attendance that represented cities, police departments, counties, and water districts. Holly was able to share her knowledge of archival architecture and the practical application of the laserfish system in small government records management and public information. So wanted to give a shout out, again, the caliber of leadership that we have on staff here. So thank you, Holly, for representing. Let's see, staff update. So all the people that you approved, new positions, are pretty much all full, except for one. We're kind of pulling back right now on the fire marshal just because we're not there yet. But our new marketing guy, Keith Burrow, he is going to take what Orna started doing part-time and be full-time, and he's an amazing, we are very fortunate to have him. Advent Health, he is a graduate of Southwestern Adventist University, and Advent Health wanted him. He's been in the mission field for the last year donating his time, but he wanted to come back to this community, fell in love with this community, and so I'm excited to see him actually develop a marketing division. And if Orna can do what she did in 20 hours a week and this guy is full-time, I'm very excited for that. Dawn also hired a lady that's coming to us from Arlington, from the permit office, and has experience, and very much seems to be a go-getter. So leveling up that department as well. 3 new fire, all 3 fire positions have started. So we are a month kind of after the budget. We're tracking pretty good. Any questions on?
Do you know how many employees we have now? What number are we at?
Oh man,
Oh,
62? Yeah, I think it's 62.
62? Okay.
I think it's 62. And again, just to remind people, cities our size have around 80. So we're doing great things with the small team that we have. You already gave the Christmas market information, so I'll lead to the final thing. I can now kind of officially say we've been working on this for some time, but there will be an offer coming from Metal Plate to purchase 60 acres in our industrial park. It'll start with 1 manufacturing facility followed by a second. Initially, it'll add around 80 to 100 jobs, and once the second manufacturing facility is up and going, it'll add an additional 80 to 100 jobs with a median income around $70,000 to $100,000. And to just speak to it a little bit, because I love that you give us credit, but again, to me, the glory needs to go to God because He is leading in ways. I thought this deal was done a couple times, and Andy helped us with the initial offer negotiations. I don't have the official offer, but it is coming, which we'll present to the A board. And I think it's going to be a wonderful partnership, not to mention jobs, increase revenue, sales tax, all the wonderful things that come along with it. But this deal was done. It was just going to fall through. And the Lord put me on a board 20 years ago that I never really understood why, because it never really did anything for my professional career. But when the deal was falling apart because of a gas line deal, I reached out to a very good friend of mine that was on the Petroleum Club board with me. And he made one phone call and resurrected that deal. And I can honestly tell you, when you pay dues to something for 20 years and you look back at the end of a rough patch in your life and you go, why the heck did I waste all that money? That phone call right there was worth every cent to me. And so I'm telling you, there's other awesome conversations that we're having for our city that, again, I'm not at liberty to talk about. Dawn and I are getting phone calls, and there's other great things that we're working on, but this is a deal that to me is just, it's the first of many to come. And so our team is excited to be in this city at this time, and it's amazing. So just sit back and be patient with us, because citizens, good things are coming for this community. So so hopefully by the next council. And here's the thing too, it's a cash deal. They're going to help us develop. So Buell Baptist Church, talked to Larry Woolley, good friend of mine from my past years here. He's already started on their side of things. It's already, they can't actually lay the asphalt until it gets warm again, but they're doing all the road base and things to pack it and get it ready for that point. And then with this deal coming in, they're about to have the nicest road probably in Keene. So God is good to them too. Their prayers are being answered. So anyway, just that's kind of it. I know it's a longer report than usual, but these reports will get longer and longer at the rate of the good things that are coming. So,
Anybody have any questions, Mr. Seitz?
Question, Mayor. So you're saying 60 acres, but it's still under Alvarado School District on the school taxes?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
That's just, I mean, that's the way this area is. The good news is the sales tax will come to the city of Keene. So, not to mention provide jobs for the people moving to Keene. So, that's my focus.
All right, thank you. All right, and agenda item number 4B, receive the end of fiscal year 2025 financial report.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I have two more additional slides that didn't make it. I'm so sorry. That's just an additional 2 pages.
Thank you.
Can I have one? Thank you. Okay. Well, we certainly have a lot to be thankful for, and so now we get to see what the Lord has done and richly blessed us with this past year. Okay, first slide. If you would follow me. You know, this thing never works on TV. Okay, so if you look at the third column from the left, I don't know why I'm doing this because it doesn't really work anyway, but anyway, the third column from the left, that would be our current budget year. We're going to break this down. First of all, this is a revenue slide. The current budget year is, at the end of the year, we were budgeted to be at $6,074,130. And we ended the year with $6,129,534.05. And that puts us at 55,000, just a little bit over. And so we are over budget by what we budgeted for this year. So that's a good thing. We're over by 55,000. And if you compare it to the last year, which is the second column from the right at the bottom where it says $5,744,345.27. We are over by 385,000. Good news. So after that, I think we want to look at basically what drives the increase. If you look at the third column from the right, all the negatives, good things. When you see things in parentheses, those are the good things that we're looking at. So the main contributor for our being over budget is actually fire and rescue department. They are over by almost 9%, and they're over their budget by $64,000. So thank you so much, Chief, and your team. Good job. And the second one will be the other one with the negative 215, which is actually good. So they went over their budget by 215%. And that's Mr. Don Martin and his team. Congratulations, that's a really good job. So they, in fact, this year, if you look at the second column from the left, the line that says Development Services Department, you see they brought over $500,000 all by themselves. So, where are you? Here. Good job, Don. Good job. So I just want to say thank you. I want to acknowledge Don and his team for his good work. And I think by average, you guys are like probably running about 2 weeks behind, right, Don? Kinda, sorta. So we also want to say thank you for council for approving the extra person. So hopefully this will be like an additional help for Don, and we can see that number keep going up.
And we also have instituted the software. They're going through training right now. So again, focusing on the customer experience, which is those people living in our city and elsewhere. So they have started the training to automate, so where people can ask for permits and things online and those types of things to automate more. So that's also in the works.
Okay. So next slide. This is a complicated slide. No, it's not. Okay, the top line, the dark line on the top, that is just where our budget, what we budgeted. We're going to be, as you know, property tax is our main main contributor in our general revenue. We were budgeted to bring at $3,228,130, and at the end of the year, we only collected $3,086,470.59. Councilman Rob Foster actually did ask me earlier why you think that is, and that's a huge concern. And I'm thinking, this is cash, this is what we're reporting, and I have not had time. hopefully during the, after the audit, we will have this done by accrual basis. Right now, it's just cash basis, and I think it will go up.
And there's also those that owe back taxes. So that, sometimes that number can fluctuate as well, which is something else that,
Yeah.
once the audit's done, we'll know.
Right. Okay, and then the next one, and I'm just sharing, just the obvious things. I just want you to see like where our main revenues are. Share that with the citizens of Keene. Again, it's the same type of graph. The line on the top is where we budgeted. We've budgeted this number for 3 years, you guys, and this is the first year we actually achieved it. So great job. We are just over our budget. The blue represents all the monthly sales tax that we get. The orange is the year-to-date number, and the red is, the annual budget. So we actually achieve our target this year. Our budget this year. This is something that I presented last time I was here, the sales tax comparison. The blue represents 2024, the red represents 2025, anything in between, you see the increase. And if you see, year on year, we've actually grown by 12.5%. That's really good. And I hope with the new, what is it called? Metal plate? That's gonna go shoot up the roof, so amazing. All right, okay, so I put this, not that I don't have enough slides, but I thought it would just be fun. Since we can't really tell and share with everybody who are the top taxpayers, so I would just number them. I thought it was interesting that number 4 and number 5 are actually remote businesses. So the taxpayers. And then the number 8 and number 9, they're actually businesses that actually already pay us franchise tax. So not only getting franchise tax from these businesses, but also their sales tax. So that's great news. There you go. It's my first slide with a superhero. All right, okay, so you see how, this is the building permit revenue since 2020 and 2020, until 2025. I wanted to see how big of a difference this actually really is for just a permit. And you can see that there's a difference of $239,000 from what we got last year just for permit, and this year is $401,000. This actually translates to 374 permits that we processed last fiscal year, and that's anything from electric permit, plumbing permit, residential fence permit, which I think Mr. Martin you do it yourself, right? You still do the inspection yourself, don't you, for the fence? Some. The fence, okay. Yes, sir. See, busy guy. Plumbing permit, residential, I already said that, and 43 new residential building permit, irrigation, 3 commercial, and multifamily building permits, just to name a few. I actually have like all the details if you want to see it. And this is a time I think like I want to acknowledge the superheroes, Amber, Amaya, and Don Martin. So just say thank you. Thank you for doing that. You guys are doing a great job. And thank you again for council and mayor for approving the extra position for the development services. Now we go and do serious talk. Okay, this is the expense slide. First of all, if you look at the 4th column from the right, where it says, I can't point to it, I'm sorry. It says 99,468.17. That tells you that we are over our budget by almost $100,000. I know y'all gonna ask me, so I thought I'll just explain it one by one, if you would. Where you see the parentheses, that's where each department went over their budget. I'm gonna go through it one by one. Basically, the the main contributor or the drivers of the increase of the expenses are two departments. The non-departmental expenses, and that is the property liability insurance, which is more than 140,000. I think even during budget, I was asked this, Mira, why are you budgeting so much? And it's because when you compare to budget, the budget was only like $36,000, and where the actual was already 149,000. So that's why it looks bad when you compare it to budget, but it's been steadily like that for 140-something thousand just for our property liability insurance. That's on your 999 line where it says non-departmental. And there was another 40,000 for the 380 agreement for 380, right, for the canyon. And this also includes the expenses that we absorb from the cyber attack, which came up to like almost $70,000. And the other one, the other big one is actually the Development Services Department. For 374 permits, for every homes that is processed, there is between, how many inspections do you need, Don? Amber says like between like 11 or 17 inspections per new house. There you go. And so the majority of the expenses under that line is actually third-party inspection. That's why it's increased. But you did see the revenue go up. So the revenue go up, the expenses went up as well. The administration, the 110, the first line there is over budget due to legal fees that we paid out last year. It was a total of 126,000. The finance department is over budget on their professional services. This was driven by the accounting and the audit services that we paid out. It was more than what we budgeted. It was 63,000, and the CAD that we budgeted was 35. It turned out to be more than 40-something thousand dollars. The animal control line, it is over budget because we made the employee a full-time employee. And then we talked about the development services and municipal court. We went over budget due to an unbudgeted item. So every time Larissa processes a payment, there is a merchant fee that is both court and utilities combined. It's about $84,000 a year. That has never been recorded. I have never seen it, and so I don't know why. But since we are now actively reconciling our banks every month, we know what the expenses are going out. So we are actively now recording it, and this is what happens. It looks like we didn't budget for it. But that makes up of $15,000 just for the merchant's fee for the municipal court. And there's also misallocation of salary. Larissa works the community center a lot, and I think that just needs to be adjusted, and that will be done during the audit.
I have a quick question for you.
Yes, sir.
On the line item you just talked about, does that mean that in the 26 year, we didn't budget that as well? So are we going to need to do a budget amendment for that item, or are we going to be able to soak that into?
Sorry. I believe I remember to budget, because I remember it was $84,000 that I'm like, oh, where is it? So I have budgeted in both departments,
Okay,
municipal, and then in water.
Okay.
Water.
In there. And to kind of remind council, in the past, it was kind of like, oh, well, there's leftover money here, so let's put it over there. And I don't like doing things that way. And so at the end of this year, like I said, we've been working to actually put things where the money's supposed to go. And then the beauty is next year, when it comes budget season, you're going to see things that are over and they're under, but we know that those expenses are accurate. We didn't just put it over here because there's money left in this budget over here. No, I want it to. If we're going over, I want to be able to look at it and go, okay, we need to adjust that, not spend all this time trying to figure out why this isn't lining up and all those things. So Mayor's been doing a great job of making it to where it's an actual reporting tool.
Thank you.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
And you said that we're $100,000 over budget on the attorney fees?
It was, well, I don't know if it's over, I said 126,000, that's how much we paid for legal fees.
We are definitely over, and that's why we added more for this new budget.
So
We
got it.
did.
This
Okay,
is,
we
this
did.
is last year's
Yes,
that we're
this is
talking
last
about.
year's, yes.
I just want to make sure we accounted for that for.
Yes, we did for the new budget, yes, yes, sir. Okay, and the next few slides is going to be the cash and investment report. This is our pool cash reporting as of September 2025. Okay, the balance of the pool cash money market as of September 30, we ended at $2,551.24, and the year-to-date interest that was earned was over 123,000, and the average interest rate for the year was 3.98. You see the up and down. The blue lines is how much at the ending balance of every month, and the line graph is the interest rate. We were at one point at 4.39, but we ended at 4.07, and the average is 3.98. The next slide is the reserve, the money market reserve. We are, as of September 30, is at $2,050,766.69. We accumulated $78,000, almost $79,000 in interest. And again, it has the same interest rate at 3.98. And then I gave you 2 extra slides. I didn't realize I had to do this, so. So this is all the cash and investment report that ended at September 30, 2025. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We used to have 9 accounts. The ARPA account was fully exhausted and closed as of April 2025. As you can see here, so what I did was, this is just for the month of September. The beginning balance reflects the beginning balance of the month of September, and then additions is how much money we have coming in, withdrawals or the expenses that we send out, that we pay out. Transfers are just transfers that we do between accounts, and then the interest earned, and then the ending balance at the end. Transfer in pool cash is the monthly movement of reimbursed expenses from EDC A and B. I'm just narrating it. With the withdrawals is also including the reclassing of the field rental. We receive the money in pool cash, and then we move it at the end of the month to the EDC A and B. And the other transfer that we do from pool cash is to top up our FSA account. The fire engine and brush truck did have 240,000 some cents at the end of September, but we did pay our brush truck in full in October. So as of today, the fire truck, the fire engine and brush truck account is closed, and it's already zeroed out. The FSA here is where we keep where employees would use their FSA card. So this is where we pull our FSA payable, and the street rehab at the end of September, we have $79,000. Councilman Foster, I think Councilman Smith also asked me about that, is 79. And I did check whether we paid any of the Fairview out of our street fund, and the answer is no. We funded everything through the CDBG grant, and the matching fund will come out of general fund as per, was it what council meeting? I forget. December 7, 2024. So it's coming out of our general fund and not the, and last but not.
I have a question, sorry.
Yes.
I have a question.
Absolutely.
Yeah, regarding this, the street rehab, 0761. So I'm seeing here, you said Councilman Troy Smith did ask a question about it. I'm seeing 79,000. If I can remember, November 2023, we did transfer almost $78,000 to that account. And then November 2024, after the budget season, we were supposed to transfer $100,000 to that account. And we are projecting also 2025, after the approval of this budget, at the end of the fiscal year, we were supposed to transfer another 100, which will bring it to almost 225. But I understand we did approve almost $50,000 or $55,000 to go towards Fairview. So if we were transferring it the right way, the way that street fund policy was written, we should be having approximately $125,000 at this moment.
Okay, I will certainly look into that. I have no knowledge of what you just told me. I know that usually the transfers are done after the audit because you want to see the full, your balance sheet, your financial statement. So usually the transfers are done after the auditors present to you like the final financial statements. I have not seen that anywhere. Hold on a second, okay? Let me.
If I also remember right, and this was a conversation I'm remembering from Brent a year ago, it was as long as there was the money left over, that's when we transfer. And so I've kind of told Mira, we need to get the audits done before, here's the thing, there's money in the bank. We'll transfer it, but I'm going to feel more comfortable transferring it when audits are done. And right now, we're working on 24, and then we can transfer the money, and then 25's done, we can transfer the money again. So it's really just, it's in there, it's just not in the right account right now.
And just go and look at the way it was written. I did write that policy, there is a reason why. And I did notice in our previous budget, it was tagged as 100,000.
Line item.
Yes.
But I suspected we did not transfer it. So it was written where if you approve some money to go towards, regardless of the audit, if you approve the money to go and fund the water department, you say this 200,000. Do you normally wait until the audit is over and then start spending that money, or you transfer that to that account?
I just told her, let's wait until the audit's done, but, I mean, I'm not too worried about it. The money's there, but I'll just feel more comfortable once another set of eyes have looked at it. So, I mean, we can transfer it now, if that's what you want to tell us to do, but.
When are we expecting the audit to be done? Aren't they working on it now?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're working on 24,
Yeah,
right now. And
yeah.
then now that 25's done, they're going to go right into 25 in January, February of next year. So the
Okay.
goal is to have everything current by
So we
March.
should have it in the next month then.
Mid-year review, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do hear have the fund policy. Holly helped me to look for this particular item because I wasn't sure, because I have no knowledge of what was done in the past and the instruction that was given to the former finance director, because I don't have any of those things. And we looked through the minutes as well, didn't we? And we didn't see that. So we'll look again, and we'll be happy we can do the transfer, but I have not seen it, so I apologize. I didn't know.
Yeah, I was thinking that we put it in the budget. We weren't going off of like the policy with a percentage at the end. We were budgeting 100,000 to go into it from the revenue.
That's what
I thought we did for
thinking.
fiscal year '24.
Yes,
Yes,
yes, ma'am.
but it was supposed to be transferred to that account,
Yeah.
So you're
just
saying,
like any other accounts was supposed to be transferred after the budget approval. And for the last few years, we had some surplus. And I'm suspecting then we were in negative if we had transferred that amount to that account. But we did,
Without the audit, you can't really speak to that. You can't really say that right now because that's why I want to see the audit. You know what I mean? Because there's a chance, let's say there's 125,000. Well, that means 100,000 obviously is your street fund, but that means there's still a surplus of 25,000. So what do we want to do with it, kind of thing?
so was there, pardon my questions, was there a resolution then, or was there an instruction given to staff to move the money?
if you read it, the staff is supposed to transfer once we approve the budget.
I think it was
They're
a line
supposed-
item.
Yes.
It was a line item in the budget that said, put 100,000 into the street fund.
It is certainly budgeted, Mayor. If I just may
Yeah.
read it. This is the policy, year-end general fund surplus contribution. At the close of each fiscal year, if two criteria are met, the reallocation of surplus revenue will be allowed. Two criteria that have to be met are There is general fund surplus in most recent fiscal year closed. General fund balance reserves are at the appropriate level per city policy.
So we're not closed yet.
So,
with the
yeah, in
audit.
my opinion, it's not closed until the audit is completed.
That's correct.
That's the definition of accounting
If
closed.
Yes, and I mean, if, in my ear, fiscal year close is only done after
Okay.
the audit, yes.
And I don't think we took $55,000 toward Fairview either. Well, I think we only spent the money that was in the grant on
Yes.
Fairview.
We spent 196,800 and something.
Yes,
on Fairview.
but we did approve to come from that account,
No,
If I remember right, it was
from street fund. no.
if we needed to, we would do that. But we didn't exceed the value of what we were spending on that, if I remember right.
So they should be
That's not correct. Just go and look at those minutes. We did say we'll get, and we had to split it because the way we approved it. We did say $55,000 was going to come from street rehab, fund. Very specific. Go and look at the minutes. And, if we had transferred that amount, and I was suspecting that, I saw it on the budget, but I knew it was not transferred. And that's why I've been tracking those numbers.
So, Councilman Goodwa, after you asked me about the 100,000, I did speak with Mr. Charles Williams, and I asked him, hey, you know, like, this was asked of me, and I don't know what the answer is. And he said, he kind of said the same thing. You have to look at the end of the year, at the close of the fiscal year, and only council can tell me or staff to move the money. And to his knowledge and my knowledge, because all I can go is by what someone else tells me, there was not instruction to move the money yet. That's why I have not moved it.
Okay.
Okay. All right,
No,
thank you.
Thank you for that explanation.
Yes,
and just for clarification, so there was no extra money spent other than the grant money on Fairview Street?
that's correct.
Thank you.
I have a question for Thomas. You said you did some research. Do you know when those meeting dates are, so that way they can look it up? You said you went back to look at when those meetings? Is that in your notes?
Which meetings?
Well, we're just talking about the street, sir. You just said that you researched when those meetings happened and when those things were discussed. Do you remember the dates of those meetings?
Of
Where it
approving?
was discussed, so that maybe staff can go back and look at those things.
Well, it's in the minutes, they can look. When we did,
You said you did the research, so I'm asking you, do you have that information with you?
at the moment,
Yes.
it's in the archive, the employees can
Okay.
look.
Never mind.
It's,
Yeah, it was a public meeting, it wasn't executive. You can go and look when we had that meeting.
I will say, this morning, we researched, at least back through 23.
23, we
There's
went
no
back to 23.
resolution. There's nothing in the minutes saying take money from the street fund. It only mentions the general fund.
Yes, and it also,
So if you have dates, we would appreciate them.
yes, it would really help
We
us,
cannot
yeah.
find
We
anything
couldn't find it.
that states taking 50,000 from the street fund. We can't. We can't find it.
We only
Okay.
found 3 things, and it shows on that the street rehab fund was established on 12/7/2023, and the other one that that pertains to Fairview, that the grant was applied, the application was sent in April 18, 2023, and there was some discussion on March 7, 2024, of how much the grant is and how much the match. The grant is total of 500, and the match is 50,000. That's all we have written, all from our research this morning, sir.
Yeah, okay. To help you out, Councilman Rofosa was sitting right there. He proposed to pass, to get the 55,000 from street fund. He did ask the city manager how much money we have, and I was the presiding officer. So, and I've had 2 meetings as a presiding officer. So go and look at those minutes.
55,000?
Thank you.
We can look again, hold on. Okay, the next, may I go on?
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, thank you, thank you.
This is the debt and loans obligations. In total, In total, we paid $700,481.18. This is $31,219.82 less than what we paid last year, since we no longer have the pothole filler bank loan. It's just, I think we were supposed to report this, so that's the report for the debt and loan obligations. The next slide, this is the water sewer. Okay. This is not gonna be a fun slide. All right, okay. Let's look from the from the right. Budget balance remaining. If you see where it says revenue totals, we are short of our revenue by $455,000, almost $456,000, and that's 10% short of our revenue. Our expenses, we're doing good. We're still under our budget, so now I have to talk about why the revenue is almost $500,000 short. We found that during, here it is, it's actually in the narrative. The shortfall of revenue for water sewer is due to the 431 water meters that had dead batteries. I found this out when I first came in, I guess, 1st April. I started March 31st, and I started noticing when we started doing the financial statements that unfortunately, the revenue for water sewer just kept steadily going down. So I went and asked Alyssa and tracked everything, and it turns out that we had 431 water meters that had dead batteries. Apparently, somewhere along the line, the radio was down, and the water meter batteries usually would look for the tower, the radio tower, twice a day. But since the tower was down, it was looking for the battery a few times a day. So the batteries just died over time. And at that time, back in March, there were 431 water meters that were dead. So that make us lose revenue for our water distribution department. That's your 205, as well as your sewer, as you can see. But the good news is we fixed it. We fixed it. And that's the next slide. We found it in March, and we worked together and with Derek and his team, with Dylan. I just want to say thank you to Dylan and Alyssa. Dylan himself replaced 111 water meters single-handedly in 1 month. And what it was before, each month we would be getting at 116, 115,000 just for water. Now it's gone back up. October, we collected 145,000, and this November, we collected 150. So you can already see. So it's now.
Just to kind of speak to that, when
Yeah.
it became apparent to us something was going on and we started researching it, it was this fear of, well, we can't spend any money, and this is a perfect example. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. And so it didn't make sense to us because water is going down, and yet we're in the middle of a growing city. It didn't make sense at all.
Yes.
And so once we gave permission to the enterprise to say, listen, you got to replace this. So what was happening was all these bills were being basically billed on an average, and there's been several instances where citizens have been very fortunate, and I'm glad they got to be fortunate, but I'm more thankful that we're actually addressing the issue and actually figuring it out. So, a big thank you to Public Works.
What are we going to do in the future to stop that from happening?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, first of all, not let the radio be down for 2 months and then find out. And again, I think the biggest thing is releasing the fear to run your department, I think there's been very much a culture of we can't spend money, and this is a perfect example of it was hurting our city, hurting our finances and our enterprise. So.
But I think there was, I'm sorry.
Is it normal for water bills to be on an average billing cycle? And how long do we allow that?
I don't know. I know it was going on for a while before, I got here. And
Yeah.
so, and the other thing is I'll be real honest, we knew the TWDBA grant was coming, and this is a perfect example of this is a perfect water leakage example. So rather than just pull money from, general fund, knowing that there's this big amount of money coming to address this very issue, we did go a little bit slower with it because we wanted to utilize those funds so that we could kind of replace them all at one time. And also, for a while there, Derek was having a hard time getting them because, as you know, there was a time when everything was on ship containers, on ships in harbors. And so that was another thing. He wasn't able to order as many as we would have liked once we said, okay, let's go fix the problem. So
Yeah.
you've got a lot of little factors that kind of contributed to this. I don't see this being another issue in the future.
I think also, if I may, I think like that was one of the things that I was tasked to do. I remember when I first got this job, Jonathan would say, our city manager would say, Mira, I need eyes. I don't know what's going on. And now we are actually monthly are sending our directors financial statements. They see how much their revenues are, they see how much expenses they incur that month. So I think it is more a proactive, way of looking at it now. Because I think for months, and I don't know for how many months, that we did not have financial statements even for the directors, correct? Yeah. So I think now they can monitor on a monthly basis.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
City manager, you did bring up, is it the TBGA grant account?
WDB.
Yeah.
So have we opened that account through Pinnacle?
Yeah, it's it's the one, if I go back, it's the last one. So to my understanding, see, it has like 5, minus 5 at the end. So there is no money in it. So how the grant works is that it will just be a holding place where we can pay our vendors. It's just going to always be a wash through. And in the beginning, that $5 was a paper statement fee. And I believe our city manager worked with the bank, so they have waived the fee for that. But that account will just be a zero account because we hold it in an escrow, and whatever vendors we need to pay directly, like from us, that's where the escrow will transfer the money
For tracking purposes.
for tracking purposes.
And Pinnacle's very nice to waive. It was actually even more than that. And but
Yes.
because I'm not on the account, they were nice enough just to, because of the relationship, say, okay, we'll waive that. We're really sorry. And so that's gone. That's not there anymore, but it does show up on the books in September, so.
Actually, I think there's only Councilman Goodwa and Mayor who are like in the bank, right?
I think so.
We're not there yet. I don't have access to this bank account, by the way. I still don't have access. But we're going to work on it, and once we go to the business premium account for Pinnacle, then I will be able to see it on a monthly basis. Right now, when I go to my Pinnacle bank, online banking, I don't see the TWDB.
The only reason we
Councilman
even found
Goodwin.
out about it was because they sent us a paper statement.
Yes.
So, which, we're not used to looking at paper statements anymore.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, Mara.
Yes. ma'am.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, agenda item number 5, there are no public hearings tonight. Agenda item number 6, consent agenda. Council, do you have any items that you would like to remove from consent agenda for discussion?
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to remove item A.
Okay, we're moving 6A. Anybody else? All right, then I need a motion to approve consent B, C, and D.
Okay, I move that the council approve the consent agenda as presented. That's item B, C, and D.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion to approve consent agenda items B, C, and D by Gutwa, second by Foster. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Chuck Easley, were you voting? I didn't see your hand up. Okay. All right, we removed item 6A for further discussion. Consider approval of the corrected minutes of the Keene City Council special meeting held on September 25, 2025.
Okay, Mayor, I was just reading through it. Just some minor correction, probably, let me see. There are some highlighted, I think the changes that were made.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the last change with the red. I'm seeing the mayor and councilman member Gutwa did not return to the meeting. Even though I have a problem with that, the way it's worded, I know Councilman Troy Smith requested for it, but I don't know the intent of saying I did not return to the meeting, even though it was a legal, it was a, the recess was done proper. It wasn't something that was done illegal. So I don't know about that with the city attorney, maybe you can explain.
I agree. I believe that to be a false statement. I would like that removed from the minutes as well. It states that the mayor and the councilmember Gutwa did not return to the meeting. According to even the city attorney's records, I called a recess. I stepped out as I've reported to go to the restroom. I did return to the meeting to find that all the council members were leaving. So I did not leave the building. So by this statement being in there, it implies that I left the meeting as if I went home, and I did not. I was in the room in a minute.
Mayor, just to correct that, you were not here when the meeting was adjourned, so how could you possibly say that you were here during the meeting?
Because I called a recess, and so I was coming back to reconvene the meeting after the recess, and I came in apparently right after the meeting was over. You guys had ended the meeting without me.
But here's the thing, is that the council ended the recess. We voted unanimously to end the recess.
Okay, this
Okay.
statement, though, implies that we literally walked out and didn't come back. That's
You
not
did.
correct.
That's exactly what happened,
We
Mayor.
both came back, and even Mr. Chapman has stated on social media that we came back into the meeting because he saw us in the back room. I came back, I picked up some documents, I handed them to Ms. Russell. She's going to have to testify that I did hand her meeting papers, and I didn't sign them because I wasn't present when y'all took the tax vote.
You just answered
And-
your own question, you weren't present.
So I wasn't present when you all were doing that, but I was still present for the meeting. I'm the presiding officer. I was coming back to reconvene the meeting. I came back.
You're
and
not
y'all
the
were
presiding
leaving.
officer.
You
So the way you're writing
You were,
that,
you were not the presiding officer.
I was the presiding officer for
You
that
left.
meeting
Look,
during a recess. I left during a recess.
but here's the thing, Mayor, is that you are only a presiding officer when you're in the room. You left the room, council, 4 of us, a quorum, voted to end the recess.
After we asked you to continue the meeting,
Ask Gutwa,
and we asked
Councilman
Gutwa
Gutwa
to
to,
continue the meeting,
that's right.
a quorum asked the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem to continue the meeting. Y'all both left the room in defiance of the council. You understand?
I came back after 10 minutes
After we.
during a recess.
Yeah.
Yes, I came back to reconvene the meeting as the presiding officer. I was present.
You left the council.
I left
when
the
we
chamber
wanted to
and went to the
continue
restroom.
meeting.
That's not true. I went to the executive room and you were in there. I was there within 1 minute.
You were, after y'all had done what you did out here while I was at the recess, yes. You saw me. After I went to the restroom, I went to executive session, and that's where I found Mayor Pro Tem Gutwa, and he said, "Mayor, are you ready to reconvene the meeting?" And I said, "Yes," and that's when you walked in. We were having that conversation.
I don't think your timeline jives.
So we have never in previous meetings recorded when somebody's left and didn't come back. I know Mr. Foster has left meetings, and we don't record that he left the meeting and didn't come back. We just record the time
That's
of when
because I
somebody
came back.
leaves. She's already recorded the time that I left. She's already said that I recessed the meeting at 6:19, and she's already said that I left the dais at 6:20. We don't need to go on and put another statement to say that I did not return. Because I did return. I returned at 6:29 PM.
Well, here's the thing, though. So if you take the mayor and council member Gutwa did not return to the meeting, if you leave that out, then why am I presiding over the meeting?
I really don't know. I'd like to know that, too.
Yeah, because the bylaws say that if you're not here and the pro tem's not here, then the person with the
That's
most
if I give
tenure.
up my authority, which I did not. I did not give up my authority to
Let's ask
preside.
them, I think, get
called
an
a
attorney
recess.
sitting right there beside you. Let's ask him if you have any authority when you're not in the room.
Yeah, and let's remind the public that the city attorney is paid for by the city council.
Which you're a member of.
You want to weigh in on this?
Sure. I think the issue, respectfully, is whether the minutes are correct or whether they need to be changed by a motion and adopted, not actually the legalities of the meeting or the mayor's authority or anybody else's authority. That's really the agenda item that we're on.
Okay, then I make a motion to approve consent item 6A.
Second.
We have a motion to approve 6A as presented by Foster and a second by Smith. All in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion is carried. All right, agenda item number 7, general business, item A, review, discuss, and take action on a resolution for casting votes on the ballot for the 2026-2029 election of Board of Directors of the Central Appraisal District of Johnson County. Let me get to that paper. Okay, so we have done this the last 2 or 3 years now. The city of Keene has a total of 16 votes. We had already previously nominated 2 people, Peter Svensson and Jason Marbett. These votes we're now ready to allocate our votes, which is going to go toward a total number of votes that each person has to have in order to serve on the CAD board. So we may cast these votes for any one single candidate, or we can divide them amongst 2 candidates. And I believe Peter Svensson is here, and he would like to go ahead and speak to us about that.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. I appreciate standing before you. First of all, thank you for your nomination previously. I appreciate it. Everyone in life has accountability. We're not always appreciated. It's a tough go sometimes, but my heart has been dedicated as a Christian man to do and represent you in Johnson County. Since I've been on the board, we've reduced the budget by $500,000. We have to help your citizens. We've frozen the property values for 3 years to relieve the burden, because you all know that the property taxes have been so high, and now, and I don't know if it's happened to you, but my insurance doubled on my home. And I went from a 1% deductible to a 3%. So you might want to check your policies, because it's not friendly to homeowners right now. And as you know, interest rates are still pretty high. So I'm doing everything I can to help the average person. I'm not an average person. None of you in here are average people. You're leaders. You probably have good jobs. But you've got a lot of people in this community that you serve. You're here to serve them, not yourself. And I'm not here to serve myself. I'm here to help the people of the citizens of Johnson County. We have also done an audit, which will have all the information on it come January. We have appointed a new chief appraiser. His name is Mitch Fast. He started on December 1. And I think he's a fabulous candidate. Chris Saunders, who's one of the board members, is here with me tonight. And I want to tell you, you will be happy with who we selected. So we've gone from 40 years of another appraisal to finding a new appraisal. We've lowered the budget. We're helping your citizens with keeping the values the same. And I know that you're aware of someone like myself. We received a $200,000 deductible for people that are over 65. So that'll apply to their home. So whatever you mortgaged it at, it'll be a deduction. So you need to budget that in, City Council, to your budget, because I don't know what percentage of people over 65 you have in Keene, but it will affect you, because $200,000 is quite a hit. And the other thing I'd like to say is we have totally blown up the ARB. I've gone to the ARB. I don't know if any of you have been, but it hasn't been satisfactory to me as a Christian man. When I have people call me and say they were rude to me, they didn't really listen to me, that hurts me as a person, because I'm standing before you, and I hope that I get respect, that you treat me nicely, and there's other people that stand up here. People have concerns and fears, and when they walk into the tax office, it's a matter of, will I have to sell my home and rent? Will I lose my home? Will it be foreclosed? I walked into the basement of the City Hall in Cleburne, and for November and December, I saw 50 properties under foreclosure. That's sad. That breaks my heart, I'll be honest. Because these are people that are hardworking people. I worked hard my whole life. When I came to Cleburne, Texas, I'd lost my job. My wife had lupus. I had a 2.5-year-old son, and I had to live with my father and mother-in-law. That's humbling. But they were wonderful people. For 4 months, I worked 2 jobs, and I worked and continued to be successful because I don't give up. An interesting thing, I love Keene. I used to come over, you know Jerry and Linda Becker? Wonderful people. They used to invite me, Linda, over to her class to talk because I spent 42 years in the music business. And there was one young lady that I became very good friends with. I'm not going to name her. But I got to take her to Billy Bob's one night and meet the Osmonds. And I'm telling you my age, but that was like the thing, you know? Like if I took you to see who right now? Lainey Wilson, possibly? But then also, I love Anna and Greg Patterson. My wife and I came to her inauguration, or I don't know the correct word to call it, but they're wonderful people. When I started Christmas in Action, and I want to suggest to you, Mayor and Council, this family that lost their home, reach out to Christmas in Action. Because I'm no longer involved, Mr. Saunders has been involved, but I gave it quite a few years of my life as president. I started it from the ground, raised money and worked at it. And if you know what Christmas in Action is, it helps the homeless, the low-income, veterans, and people that need the help. And let me tell you, Keene has helped us over the years. The Patterson family, David Patterson, and so many of them. And I'm real proud that Anna Patterson, she used to have an entrepreneur class on the 3rd floor of that building there. And for 6 years, I came and talked to those students because I'm the ground-up success story. And I lived my dream. I loved what I did. And I helped people fulfill their dreams. But I was voted every year, do you want this guy back? And I'm proud to say for 6 years I was invited back until she became president. But let me tell you, when I talk to these students, the number one key point of success is having faith in Jesus Christ and using his principles in all the things you do. So, I would appreciate your vote. Jason Babbitt does not need any more votes. He has enough. But again, thank you for the nomination, and if you'd like to give me the votes, I would certainly appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Peter. So council, everybody gets a certain number of votes and then they get on the board. So Jason doesn't need any more votes. I recommend that we just give all 16 of our votes to Peter Svensson.
Before we, I was able to watch a council meeting from the city of Burleson. I don't even know how I came across it, but it was all about Peter asking for the nominations there, and of course some of the other gentlemen. And they had some very unsavory things to say about you that night, if I remember. And you are the presiding officer currently for that board?
Yes, sir. I was nominated on it, and within a month, I was made chairman because nobody else wanted to be. And let me tell you something. If you watched it, how did I handle myself? I said to the lady, you're right. I accept your criticism, and I'm going to do better. And if you want to go look at the last 4 meetings I've conducted, they're better, better, and better. Now, one of the gentlemen on there, you know why he got all over me? Because his wife was best friends with the TLO that we had to let go because she kept lying to us and didn't do what we asked her to do. Now, if you have employees that work for this city that are lying to you and not doing their job like you've asked them to do, in fact, one of the letters of criticism toward the TLO came from a citizen here, David Sinclair. Well, she didn't return his calls, she didn't take time to visit with him and hear what his problem was. So we had a problem with that. Yep, if I gotta take the heat on that, I'll take it. But I'll tell you what, I talked to that gentleman and I said, I appreciate what you said, and things will get better. But the night at that meeting, let me explain to you what happened. Ginger Allen got reprimanded by her own ARB board that had not trained them properly. Now, is that my fault? No. And then the next thing that happened, people didn't like the audit company that we'd hired, and some unkind things, and people were saying things. Yeah, and if that makes me a bad leader, I'm sorry. But if you go back and look at the rest, and you know what's interesting? The same gentleman that critiqued me in Burleson has called a gentleman, Craig Hundley, 3 times and said, Peter's doing a great job. So I appreciate you bringing it up and giving me a chance to say something about it.
So I'll, if I can speak freely for a minute.
Sure.
So I brought it up because I wanted to at least bring light to the fact that some of the other cities weren't as favorable, right? But I know the God I serve is a God of second chances every day of my life. And so with that, I just want you to know that if we do give you, if we do give you these votes, it's a chance for you to redeem yourself, right?
Absolutely.
And I remember that you said you're correct, and I want to try to correct the wrongs, right? I do remember you saying that, and so.
Did I raise my voice or sound indifferent? No.
Nope, and I'm not, and I didn't mention that, and I'm not saying that. They just said some unsavory things about you, and I just wanted to, I wanted to have a one-on-one with you, so that way
I
you
appreciate
understood
it.
that I'm at least trying to do some homework. I may not have been diligent to go to those meetings, and I would like to, just so I can see the process a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I am a guy who does give second chances, but I do want to, on the same token, you know, it's kind of like you're on notice, right? Like and I don't mean that in a
Yeah,
threatening way at all, but I'm going to be watching, and I'm going to be paying more attention because, you know, I know we've heard about this other gentleman, Jason Marbut, and I've heard good things about him, right? And so when you hear something unsavory, it's like, hold on, brake pedals,
Sure.
right? But you did respond in a kind manner, and I appreciate that. So I just wanted to at least acknowledge that part of that for you. So
I thank you for that, Mr. Smith, and I welcome you. Next week on Thursday, the 11th, you're welcome to come to our meeting at the Civic Center at 11. We'd welcome you or any one of you that would like to come. And like I said, I was new. I'm learning. I asked questions of the attorney. I asked questions of our new chief appraiser, and we were blessed to have a chief appraiser named Jeff Law come in and help us through this transition period. Because you got to remember something. When you've had one appraiser for 40 years, these people were not trained. There was so much, I mean, I can't even imagine what the report is going to be like, but we're going to try to make it, like I said, I reported to you about things that we've done to make it better. Now, you'll know our new TLO. Have you ever heard the name Amy Lingo? That's who we picked as our new TLO, and I think she's outstanding and will do a marvelous job. Thank you, sir.
thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
Do we know anything about this other gentleman? Ignacio Hernandez?
I don't know anything about him.
Oh, the other guy.
Do we have a recommendation or any kind of,
He does not have enough votes, but the way it'll run is that Mr. Marbut will be on. I'm getting enough votes, probably close to it, to get reelected. And Ignatius will have a vacancy filled that we'll be able to nominate him as a board to put him on.
Okay.
We had to remove a certain lady off of our board, and I worked very hard because a lot of people gave us flack. And that lady that was put on the board, I was not present. I was on vacation when they voted her on. So I had nothing to do with it, but you know what? There's a mess on aisle 6. I cleaned it up.
You want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we give 16 votes to Peter Svensson.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor for council to cast 16 votes for Peter Svensson on the Board of Directors 2026-2029 election ballot for the Central Appraisal District of Johnson County by Foster, second by Easley. Any further discussion on this motion? All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
All right, agenda item number 7B, review, discuss, and consider the applications of Stephanie Flannery and Carter Schwartz for possible appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill 2 vacancies for terms expiring March 15, 2026.
Yes, good evening, council. We have 2 applications before you. I've already done the check. They meet all of the requirements. They don't owe the city money or anything like that. So P&Z has already reviewed their applications and recommended them for 2 vacancies that are ending soon. There is actually 3 vacancies on P&Z, and we've received a few more applications for that as well. But at this time, both Mrs. Flannery and Mr. Schwartz are both here if you have questions for them. Mr. Schwartz's resume was handed to you this evening. It was not in the packet, so if you would like to know a little bit more about him as well. He has a financial background, whereas Mrs. Flannery has been working in the permits office, I believe, for the city of Cleburne. So if both of you would like to step forward to take any questions.
Okay.
Hold on.
Would you like to come up?
No, let's let the,
All right, Philip.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As chairman of the Planning and Zoning Commission, I just wanted to let you know that we reviewed both applications as presented to us. Neither individual was present, however, but we did, based on the strength of their resume or applications, we did recommend that they approve them to be considered
Okay.
for the board. We knew if we waited, another month, to have them actually, possibly show up at a
Yeah, you've only got
meeting.
3 on the board right now, right? So that's
Right.
what you have to have for a quorum.
Right.
So you definitely have to get some members on there right away.
We met on the 21st. We met on the 21st
So we don't want to
of
impede
November.
business, yeah.
Couldn't get a quorum for the second Monday of the month.
Yeah.
And we knew that if we waited until the 10th or the 8th
Mm-hmm.
of December to talk to them, it might be January, maybe now even February,
Yeah.
before y'all have a chance to consider their applications. And then it's only for through March of 2026. So while we didn't interview either of them personally, we did consider the strength of their applications.
I want to thank them both for being here. Thank you guys for being here and your willingness to serve. We appreciate you coming and staying because we kind of went long here in the beginning of our meeting, so you had to wait a while to speak. So, council, do you have any questions for these 2 applicants, or are you ready to just make a motion?
I have 2 questions, so either one of you guys can take the mic. One, I just want to ask you guys, what brought you to want to serve on the board?
Well, for me, it was one of those fluke things. I was scrolling through Facebook. I saw that y'all were looking for people, and I have been very curious already within my department, within Cleburne and everything, and I currently live in Keene, and I've used to live in Keene back in my teens and early 20s, and I love it, so I figured what better than to be a part of the community and, just be more involved.
Perfect.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So I do apologize. I'm losing my voice. So there's something going around. I don't know what it is. So I grew up in Burleson, Texas. I'm a new resident to Keene, but I've been in the area like my whole life. If you've ever driven through Burleson, it takes like 30 minutes to drive through it.
Yes,
It's
getting
terrible.
bad. It's getting bad.
Honestly, I boil it down to just poor city planning. When I saw there was the vacancies, I felt compelled to apply because It was something that affected me personally, and it's the reason I moved out of Burleson. So I figured if there was a difference I could make in this city as freshly moving here, and actually this is my first year being a father, I just had a newborn. This was the opportunity that I wanted to take.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question I have for both of you guys, and do you think that the Planning and Zoning Board is a circus?
No.
Honestly, I don't know a whole lot about y'all's planning and zoning. I look forward to learning about it, but I don't think anything is an actual circus. I mean, I know everyone's gonna have a disagreement here and there and stuff like that, but it's nothing that no one could ever work through and figure it out.
All right, thank you, guys.
Troy, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the two appointments, Mrs. Flannery and Mr. Schwartz.
I second and say thank you for serving.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to appoint Stephanie Flannery and Carter Schwartz to the Planning and Zoning Commission to fill the two vacancies for terms ending March 15, 2026 by Smith, and a second by Easley. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous. Motion is carried. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, next item, agenda item number 7C, receive information on an option for adding street lighting to Lewis Lane and Linden Street, North Hill Terrace subdivision, Oak Hill Drive and Honeysuckle Drive, and Valverde Circle, and give direction to staff.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is something that Mr. Goutrois had been asking about, and so I did a little bit of digging into. I wasn't able to get to all of the areas. Is there any? No? Oh, okay then. I thought we had slides. So basically, Mr. Goutrois had gone over and he had talked about, residents wanted streetlights over in the North Hill Terrace Estates and then a couple of other areas as well. So my question was, why? Why do they want streetlights? It's a beautiful neighborhood, 2-acre lots, it's quiet, it's peaceful, you can see the stars at night. So I did a little research, went on Google, and this is what they came up with. Streetlights are important because they improve safety to drivers, pedestrians by increasing visibility and reducing accidents. They also enhance public security by deterring crime and making people feel more comfortable walking or driving at night. Well, there's no sidewalks over there, so it's kind of difficult to walk at night unless you walk in the street. Additionally, streetlights support community life by enabling outdoor activities and commercial activities. Yeah, I think I have that as well, but yes. But thank you. I just thought we had it on the slides. So anyways, there was that. And then if you go back in a little bit of history, as far as North Hill Terrace Estates, this was brought up in 2017, 2018, 2019. And I found some emails, and we did add some streetlights over in that area. You should have a little map like this in your, those are the ones that we proposed, I believe, originally, to have streetlights in all those areas. Or those are actually the ones that we got put up. The problem over there was when we went door to door, myself and some of our city staff and Phil Silva from United Co-op, because that's who serviced that areas, some of the people didn't want them in their yards. They liked it like that. The other issue was most of the power poles run behind the homes. They don't run along the street. So they would have to, whenever they wanted a light, they had to add an extra pole, add extra wire. It had to be within 100 feet of a transformer, otherwise they had to add another transformer. And they usually, I can't remember what it was like $1,500 per light they would give you credit back for. So if they had to put a pole and a light and 100 feet of wire, that usually covered it. And then all we had was the $11 a month expense. Well, again, people didn't want them in their yards. Some of the people didn't want, they said, okay, you can put a pole in my yard, but I don't want the wire overhead. So then you're adding a $6,500 to $10,000 cost per light. So at the time, council in 2018, I believe, or 2019, agreed to just put those 5 or 6 lights in, which are there now. But again, they sit so far back because there is no curb and gutter and sidewalk. The bar ditches, they don't really light up the streets. Plus those type of lights, the poles are ugly and they shine out more than they do down like newer lights, the newer LED type lights. So that's why there's a lot of issues. And I know the big one is coming down 3048 and then turning onto like Dorothy Drive or North Hill Terrace or even County Road 805B, according to that map. But TxDOT has such a large right-of-way, they don't want poles right on the street because you got a 60-foot bar ditch there. That's where the power poles are and that's where the lights are. So it doesn't really light up the intersection at all. So I reached out to a company, don't ask me how to pronounce it, it's Fon Roche, I believe, which does solar. That should be in your packet as well. So just some of the, like a financial impact there, it says in some instances our electric providers can put all the necessary hardware and lighting up at no cost to the city, and we just have an $11 a month per street light that we have to pay, which comes out to $132 a year. If you take that, say, times 9 years, that comes out to about $1,100 of an expense per light. Well, with going with the solar option, yes, it's expensive to put in, but we have no electricity bill for 8 to 12 years, depending on the battery life. And then after that 12 years, the battery may go bad, depending on how strong the solar is. It's $800. So, just something to think about. So, yeah. And you don't have to worry about trees falling on the power lines. You don't have to worry about power lines falling down on top of people and electrocuting them during instances or storms. You don't have to worry about the power not going out because somebody ran into a power pole. So you asked for options. That's kind of what I'm giving you here. There are some over there in Gardendale. I did go look at, you had one of them, let's see, Lewis Lane. There's several power poles over there, but it's in an area where there aren't any transformers close by. There's already power lines going in both directions. Some of it is Encore, some of it is United Co-op. They're on the opposite sides of the street. There is a light down at the end of the street. I don't really understand why there needs to be a light right there at Lewis Lane and Linden Lane. There's a stop sign there. I don't understand why there needs to be a street light there. So, the same thing with Valverde Circle. If you look at the map, I think I included one of those maps that shows where all of our current lights are. I think it's in there. Sorry, there's a lot of paperwork here. Did we get that one in there? Did I give you that one too?
It's in mine. Keep going. Keep going.
Probably one of the last pages, right?
Close.
Probably in my other pile. Ah, here we go. Yeah, see, the issue of the one on Honeysuckle and Oak Hill is those two lights that are the yellow ones, those are actual street lights. The blue ones are guard lights. Again, the power poles run behind those homes. So it's almost 200 feet from either one of those to get power. So that would be expensive to do it that way. So again, I'm just giving you options and kind of. It's like a street light, but it's in their yard. They put it in their driveway, and they pay the $8 a month or whatever it is. So it's like a street light, a little bit smaller, but it's for the customer themselves. They wanted it in their driveway.
Oh, so these customers that are wanting streetlights that Mr. Gutwald talks about, they could request them directly?
They could, yes, and ask for a guard light to be put in their yard.
I talked to a few residents myself, and they gave me the same answer you got. They don't want them,
Right.
but it was only one or two. Maybe Mr. Gutwald talked to more. But maybe they can request them themselves and save the taxpayers money.
And then, just before we get into that, again, these solar lights are more what they protect the night sky, whereas some of the ones like United Co-op, they put in, it shines the light out a lot. With the university having the observatory here, that ruins their night sky for looking at stars. Also, I don't remember the law that was passed recently or in the last few years, that every year we have to show that we decrease our energy consumption overall for a city by 5% every year. It's by going solar or modern technology, LED lights, things like that. So again, just something to think about. And I don't know if you've driven over by like the canyons down 4th Street and Eastern. There are so many power poles over there, and there's so many overhead lights, and you always see these contractors that have to come twice a year, trim all the trees to keep them out of the power lines. They leave them in the yards, they make a mess, they're dangerous, and it's ugly. If you go through the new subdivisions, everything's underground. It's awesome. You don't have all that overhead stuff. Solar is a good answer to that, and solar technology has changed over the years. It's gotten better. It's not great, but individual lights are actually pretty good. This company came out, and they actually did a whole project. They went through there, and if you look through your packet, it shows you where they should put the lights. It kind of gave you an idea of what it looks like from at night, so you don't have that, glowing glare that you can see from outer space. So those are some pluses. They are expensive, like $15,000 per light to put up.
We don't need to look like DFW.
What's that?
We don't need to look like DFW.
No,
See
no.
us from 30,000 feet.
We don't, yes. And again, especially in that North Hill Terrace Division, those are all 2.5 acre lights. People bought those lots because they like the country feel, but they're close to the city. So again, just my thoughts. So I don't know if I got off track or just kind of rambled on. So, but Valverde Circle was the other one, the other map over there. Again, there's no reason. You can see that there's already several streetlights in that area, and to put another one, you just said Valverde Circle. Well, there's a north and there's a south and there's a west. So I wasn't sure what Valverde Circle you were talking about, but I drove over there, and the only one that didn't have a light was South Valverde Circle. But if you can see, there's one 50 feet away right there on 3rd Street, and there's another one 50 feet away to the other side. And then there's one about 50 feet away. So you want another light there? Yes, sir, I'm asking you on that one.
The mayor has requested for that specific section.
Yeah, I had people that told me that they walked around Valverde Circle and that dogs were coming out, they couldn't see the dogs, and that's what they wanted the lights for, was safety, to make sure there was no dead areas where they couldn't see where they were walking and see what hazards might be in their
Well,
path.
Part of it is, as you
So-
can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's
just
why
in
they,
that little
so I don't know
neighborhood.
where they were needed, I just know
There's
that's
a lot
I
of
had people-
older trees.
They
that
told me it was that
may be
area.
blocking some of that light, and that's the issue. So, okay.
And how much
Yeah.
did you say they are per light?
Solar or the?
It's I believe there's a quote in there. I think, again, in all this paperwork,
There are a lot of different numbers.
trying to find the right one. I think it's this one here. There was one that I think he sent me. I know I got a lot for the park too, so hopefully I didn't get them all messed up.
$3,500 to $4,000.
For like 131,000 total bid.
Yeah, and that's for all the lights.
Yes.
So per unit, 3,500 to 4,000, which is still cheaper than the 10 grand just to bury the line. So
21 lights.
we did, just so you know, Dawn did present this to the Type B as well. You know, as an option, we would like to light the park eventually so that people that walk, especially when it gets winter, it gets dark early, we would eventually like to do small light, little light towers, not the big overhead necessarily, maybe a couple in the parking lot, but eventually like to get it to where that walking path is lit up at night, so.
So it's an option. I mean, you know, for discussion, you want to look into it further. I mean, with a price like this, for that many lights, you know, do we want them? And again, some of the people don't want them in their yards. So,
Well, couldn't the citizens contact this company themselves? If they wanted a guard light?
if they wanted a guard light, yes, in their driveway, but to put it like on the intersection where it actually shows the intersection, you know, then it's in the right of way and it.
That's problematic if we're 60 feet from the intersection, you know, I mean.
It does make it tough on those roads that eventually are probably gonna be a 4-lane road. You know,
Yeah.
might be 10 years down the road, but it will be at some time.
So if you're saying the lighting that comes from the power company, the $8 or $11, whatever that number was, essentially, like, let's say somebody says, "Oh, I want one in my yard in the place across the street over here," and then but the neighbor says, "Oh, now I got to look at some eyesore every night." So, I mean, do we need to revisit a consensus with those people and say, "Hey, you know, who wants one, who doesn't?" I mean, when did you guys do this study? You're saying that was back in 2018 that you?
2019 is when we kind of made the final decision. We worked on it for a while. And part of it was going door to door and making sure that people were okay with it. One guy was like, "Sure, but I don't want overhead, you know, or I want a pretty metal pole. I don't want that ugly wooden pole."
Right.
So.
Okay, Council. And thank you for looking into that. I know Councilman Easley has said that you have talked to a few people, which is good. And I know it's not the first time I brought this before the council. Rob Foster did try to ask me about this. I brought it when we had Mayor Gary Hendrick here, just 2 months after I got elected. It wasn't like I brought it because I was running for office. I brought it because they kept asking me. So there is a need, and they have had these excuses for many years. We always said, do they really need it, and all that stuff. And they did tell me the city did reach out, and the city wanted just to give them the cheap poles and just say good luck. And they were like, okay, work with us. This neighborhood was designed in a certain way. We want to have that kind of neighborhood feel, the design, the way it was designed. And one of the residents say, you can put it by the exit on his property, but he wanted I know, former Mayor Gary Hendrick called it on a manor pole. And the cost back then was approximately maybe $4,000, $5,000. And there are some other lights. I don't mean like we have to plant all these street lights, every street, and I know everybody understands that. That's not what we are talking about. We are talking about the exits, around the exit area. And they have been asking about this regardless of what I'm hearing, or they don't want them. What they don't want is the cheap poles that the city wants just to throw there and forget about that, the problem.
Well, that's why I came to you with options.
Yes, and thank you. And from what I've heard, there are some good options for underground because you don't see overhead lines. They are for that option. Whether solar will work for them, that's another discussion for another day. But we should treat this thing with urgency because, like in Lewis Line here, it's causing most of those residents normally run into problems. People drive from the other side of the street, and it's dark. Sometimes and there's a fire hydrant just in front of it. So, and when they're driving from Keene, going to their homes, people just drive, they don't stop. There's no light there. So they have asked me for the last 6 years, and I'm like, okay, I'll bring it before the council and see if they can fix it. And the story I've had every year, we don't have money for it. We don't have money for it. We don't have money for it. For Hills Estate, North Hills Estate, I can tell you, since we annexed them 20 years ago, those homes on average, they pay $6,000 taxes. And that's almost for 1 year,
City?
on average.
To the city?
Okay, may I finish? So on average, they pay almost $6,000. And that's for 1 year, it's almost $5,888. For 20 years, that's 11.7 million they are paid. And they're asking, when is it gonna be enough for the city to put something that is reasonable, not just a cheap pole? The argument has been, there's no money, there's no money. So unless we take this thing with some seriousness and we keep using excuses, or maybe we have this cheap one, or we have this, they want the lights. The council might not be aware of it because we might talk to 2 or 3 or 4 people there. I've talked to 98 homes almost.
Can you give me a list? I'd like to see if the
So
commission.
98 homes for the last 6 years, the same issue. So we should look, 11.7 million, I think we should find some money somewhere. But let's come with a good plan
Just
that
saw the budget.
complements.
I don't remember seeing 11 point something million dollars there.
I'm just telling you, for the last 20 years.
I brought you options. It's for
Yes,
you guys
yes.
to decide, not me.
Yes, but I'm just
So
saying.
You're lecturing me.
I'm just saying, I'm talking to the council, everybody, I'm not lecturing
Oh,
you.
okay.
I'm just telling the council, because I'm facing that way.
I got you.
Okay, so what I'm saying is we should get over this thing about we don't have money. I know we don't have money in the budget, so it will be convenient to kick it down and say maybe another day. And that's another 21 years. They will be waiting for those lights. So we should look for a way. I know $10,000 for one pole, and then you'll be paying $17 for that light, whatever it's there. It won't make the city broke. They have given you 11.7 million. So,
No, if I
So
can just jump in here, respectfully.
yes.
Respectfully, this didn't even, I mean, you may have talked about it in the past, but it didn't come up until the budget was kind of already done. And so at that point, it's kind of like now here we are presenting options, but yet our hands are tied because I can tell you right now, if I'd have known that we want at $3,500 a pop, and if it's important, we could have started putting 4 or 5 of these things around the city. So what I can tell you is I've already started my list for next year's budget of things to factor in, and I'm happy to factor that in. But again, I would encourage council, like he mentioned, you know, you have an observatory here, you have, is this really something we want to do? Like if we add 21 lights all over the city, you know, that is going to go up. So it's just, again, there's a lot of things to think about. And if you did talk to residents, and this is important to them, but I just wish that we would have had this conversation back in July when we were starting to work on the budget versus, you know, now we're Monday morning quarterbacking, and we're the bad guys because we didn't put lights in, but we didn't know. So, you know, at this point, Don's come up with a really, I think, a great solution. That again, you know, these lights are cheaper than just what it would cost to bury the line. So I applaud him for bringing this. And so at this point, we talk about it. And if we want to put it on next year's budget, then I'm happy to add it to my list of things to try to work on for the city.
Okay, council. So the best way I can tell you as the city staff, I know we have turnover every year. Maybe every 2 years or 3 years, we change city managers. That's part of politics.
Why do you bring
But
that up?
this is an open meeting. I'm just saying it's a fact. We have a turnover. Any government, any city.
Bring up other facts.
Okay. So the thing is, you're saying we might have a good idea. The cheap poll was a very good idea. But I'm just telling you, unless we work with those residents, they have a certain way they want the city to work with them. But using excuse we don't have money, maybe next year, might not be the best option. So if we can get, and what I'm trying to tell you as a council and the city staff is, we might say we have a very good option with solar. For the city type A, type B, we can put it at the park there. It's our personal property. Nobody cares. You can put whatever you want. That's okay. But when you are dealing with homeowners, they might say we don't want solar. Then you go back to square one. So I'm bringing this so that you can be able to work with those residents as a city manager.
Which residents?
The ones, these items that I brought in here.
Did they sign a petition? Do we have the names? If he was going to talk, if he's going to work with the residents, he needs the names of those residents so he can work with them. Can you provide a list to the city manager? I'd like to make a motion if we could.
I'm trying to share with you. I'm saying we have worked on this issue, but I'm bringing before you based on the requests they have made through me as somebody that is representing them.
Get us some names so we can work with something. Right now we have you telling the city manager to go find these individuals, but who is it?
How many?
Who are the residents?
Yeah,
It's an HOA.
which residents would like streetlights where?
I think what he's asking is, you may talk to 5 residents, but 2 out of the 5 don't want a light, 3 do. So he's asking for the names of those people that want lights.
So we can talk to them.
So that
No, it's the old neighborhood that wants light.
It's what?
Those 98 homes.
not all of them.
No, they don't want them in front of their yard, but they want light. They use that road every day. Exit.
They just want an entrance light. You
Yeah.
talk about an entrance light off.
We have been
Liberty.
very, yes,
Yeah.
and we have been very clear.
Entrance to their street.
Yes.
I understand.
Because it's dark and you can't see the turn.
Well, the first
I'd like
thing
to-
we need to do.
I'd like to make a motion. Mayor?
Sorry.
Mayor? I'd like to make a motion that we form a committee and have an open hearing on this, where residents come and talk to us in this building on where they want lights specifically. Because we've got a lot of stuff in this book, they're in front yards, they're on corners, they're all over the place. And unless we have a list of residents that want stuff at certain positions, I know I talked to Mr. Miosi, he doesn't want it anywhere near his house.
I've visited with Miosi, so that's not where, they just want it at the exits. And they are
That's
very,
not what he
very,
told me, so.
no, Miosi is not living by the exit.
Well, he said he didn't want it at all.
Yes,
Just,
thank you.
that's TxDOT's road. 3048 is TxDOT's road. We need to check with them and see how close to the actual intersection we could even get a light, even if we went solar. So that's something that we can look into. Because like I said, on a couple of those streets, there is a light at the closest pole, but it's, 50 feet once you turn the corner, because there's such a big right-of-way there that TxDOT owns. They don't want a pole out there that somebody's gonna be driving down the night, fall asleep, swerve, hit. It's a hazard. So let us check with TxDOT and see how close we could even get a light to that intersection.
Which we do have a semi-monthly meeting scheduled now, so I can add that to the list.
There we go.
One thing that I noticed is that there's nobody here from that subdivision. So if you'd talked to people and you knew this agenda item was going to be presented tonight, you would have said, this is your chance to come to the meeting to voice your opinion. So, and unfortunately, we've heard one too many times from you, that you don't live in San Antonio, that you reside here, and so there's been a lot of things that have been questionable from you. So to believe that, and when you say you've talked to citizens, we all know that that's the mayor and possibly your wife. So when you say those things, it doesn't give us a good feeling that that the information is coming back accurate. And so with no citizens being present to be speaking in that light, yeah, exactly. Then it doesn't give me much courage to want to do those things yet, right? And then the other flip side is, I know you mentioned you don't want the ugly poles, nor the overhead wires, but if we spend $130,000, we only have $100,000 left between our budget and what we're supposed to be spending this year. So, again, we need to be fiscally responsible to not blow up our budget or have some extenuating, going into reserves or things like that. That would be totally irresponsible of us to make a decision like that. So, to present this as urgent doesn't sound like a fiscally responsible thing to do either.
Mr. Bull would like to speak. You may step forward.
Caleb Bull, 202 Shady Oak Road. So you said
Your
about
mic.
citizens coming in
Your
for an
mic.
agenda item. Sorry. You said about citizens coming in to speak about an agenda item because it's on for this meeting. They don't want to come in here because of your guys' attitudes. That is the resounding word I get out of this town. Now, this is, obviously, we're in a runoff. I've walked this town 3 times already, okay? And this is the thing I get out of every single person that will actually have a conversation with me. They're sick of y'all's attitudes up here, acting like a bunch of high school dropouts up there. Seriously. They won't come up here because you guys don't listen, okay? He's a representative. They told him. Listen to him. They can't be up here every single time. Look at other city councils from across the state, across the country. Their chairs are not empty. Ours are. Unless, certain people call in their goons to come in here to berate Thomas or the mayor. That's the only time these chairs will be filled. It's ridiculous. You complain about social media? You just have to watch the camera. And the entire world sees, literally the entire world, not just people that are focusing on Keene. We had Dr. Stevens in here talking about the good things going on. You guys are the bad things. Seriously. You want to turn this town around? Take another close look at your heart, because this is what's going to prevent this town from growing to be what it could be. And this is the second time I've said it. Coming to you as a citizen, not as a politician. I don't care if I win or lose on this one, okay? I do not. If enough citizens want me here, I'm going to represent them to the best of my ability. You talk about a circus, it was the attitudes from the people before and after that meeting on the P&Z board. It was utterly ridiculous. That's why it was a circus. We're there to conduct business. That's it. What they were doing was not just business, okay? What's going on in here is a circus, and it needs to stop. That's why citizens will not come into this building, because of you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Bull. All right, so council, we had 2 discussion items that we had discussed. Easley was making a motion to have a public hearing so citizens could come forward to discuss the need for street lighting. I haven't called for a second on that or gotten one yet, so at this moment, we'll let that motion die. Okay, that motion's going to die on the floor then. The other discussion we were talking about is giving direction to staff to contact TxDOT about how close we can get to the lighting on there, because that is, I think, one of the most crucial issues right now that's pressing is when you're trying to turn, you can't see the entrance to that development and stuff because of the poor lighting, and yeah, people are going to run off in the ditch and stuff, and it's a hazard. So I think I'll ask if there is a consensus to give him direction to contact TxDOT about the lighting at those entrances at North Hill Estates, in that side area, off 3048.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have a question, though.
Okay.
Maybe Chief Kidd can answer this, but obviously, we know safety is a huge part of why lighting is put in, but do we have accidents at those corners? Do we have incidents to that magnitude that would require us to want to be
pressing to do this?
You might need to research that, but it's on this.
Council members, Mayor, thank you. I had to research it, but it's nothing that has brought enough to my attention saying we need this done immediately. But I'm not saying that it's not necessary. So I can't give you a good answer until I do the research on it.
Are there more instructions?
So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we do some more research and get better prepared, talk to residents, things of that nature, whatever it needs to happen before we proceed.
TxDOT.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to TxDOT because that's their property. That's their right of way.
Oh, yeah, just give directions, so yeah, so there you go.
So you want to do further research on this topic and have it brought back to council?
When staff is available.
The staff has the update.
Okay, can we put a date to that? Should we put a date to that? Would staff available, could be open-ended till next year or 10 years?
It will be next year.
So we really should put some kind of a date to it so they have a timeline of when they need to complete this project of further research.
City manager, when is a considerable?
180 days.
reasonable timeline?
Well, like I said, I've got a semi-monthly, so every other month I've got a standing meeting with the lead engineer and the assistant over there, and I've got one this month of December. So I may even have something by January.
Well,
So we could put it, okay.
With the future agenda item still yet to be discussed tonight, we may or may not have one in January.
Okay.
What about, how about we just say 180 days, because Chief Kidd's probably gonna wanna do his research on that, and it gives everybody a little time to figure out what's a possibility. And obviously, that gives us 6 months to kind of prepare, allow for budget talks to be added into that discussion as well.
What about if we go for first meeting in March? Is that plenty of time?
Maybe do it before the budget March?
Yeah.
Do it by March?
March, that way,
That's a little under
That would
180
be
days.
meetings with TxDOT, so.
that'd give them time to go back.
Okay,
and
we all
research.
good with discussing this further and bring it back in March,
Yeah.
during the March
First meeting in
agenda?
March.
Okay, March agenda? All right, staff, okay, I got a consensus.
Okay, Mayor. On top of that, remember, we have TxDOT, and then we have also 805. There's a street behind there. We are talking about the CC Cooks. That's for sure, yeah, TxDOT, of which I know if you look at your emails, former city managers have been in contact with TxDOT regarding that street in the past.
805?
No, CC Cooks, the street that runs
Oh,
across.
okay.
So if you look back, go to your emails, I know there's a discussion when they used to bring them up, and then when Gary Hendrick was looking at it and all that stuff when he was the mayor. So then look into also those as a request. As I told you, every year we have turnover here, both council and also the employees. But look at those areas, 805 back there, and also for the Lewis line, that one, the city can work with those homeowners around there. But on top of that, I would recommend the council to be able to allow the city to be able to work with the citizens there because it's a request, even though we want to bring the whole neighborhood here, which some of them are not comfortable because of the current issues. To work with them, if we have options, solar, the cheap pole, of course, they don't want that. They have told me repeatedly. There are other better options. So if you can work with them and see what they might, maybe recommend so that you can bring it before the council and see if the council can work with that. I don't know if that's hard to ask through the city manager.
So is that four streetlights you're talking about?
Those exits, supposedly,
Right.
both on the CC Cooks on the front of the...
That's not CC Cook, that's 3048.
Yeah, but they call it CC Cooks too.
Yeah, those are the ones we'll have to get with TxDOT on.
Yes.
But on 805B, which is on the backside or the
Yes.
north side, have you driven over there at night?
Yes.
Did you see the light there?
Some of them are at the exit.
Is there a light there?
There are a few, yeah. I
Okay.
put it on my notes. But work with them so that at least...
I'd like to identify the locations.
They are on, I sent it to the city secretary.
I don't-
You have
Yes, and there are lights there, is what I'm telling you. So you want more lights? Or you want a different light?
They made a request. I'm just saying, work with where those lights are, those those residents, work with them. I'm a messenger. I'm just telling what they have told
Let
me.
me understand this correctly, if I may. Hold on, Rob, 1 second. Okay? It's the two entrances to North Hills Estates, okay? 805B, Linden and Lewis Lane. Those are the four positions you're looking at?
Yeah, the three,
Okay.
yeah, actually
So
four.
the people he needs to talk to are the houses that live by the stoplight or the entire street?
No, actually, that exit is affecting those 98 homes.
Okay.
They use that.
Okay, well, so you're.
I can't tell you for sure, like this house, but I've spoken. For the last 6 years, I speak, that's the number one thing, is like, when are you gonna put the lights on?
Okay.
I come here, almost go into a ditch. I'm like, okay, I'll take it to the council. So, but they don't want cheap poles,
Right.
that's for sure.
So the light on the intersection is not something that concerns the residents at all. They've asked for it, we need to figure out a way to get it done. Okay? There's no reason to communicate to the residents that we're gonna put one on Linden Lane and Lewis Lane. We're gonna be talking to Booger Putnam. 'cause it's
Okay.
across the street.
What you're not getting right here is this. The city has, in the past, tried to give an option of cheap poles just to get it off their back as a city.
Yeah, and that's.
They don't want that.
That's what we have the budget to do.
No, I'm just
You
saying.
wanna lower taxes in this town, but you wanna spend money. You gotta pick one.
I've told you, they're paid 11.7 million. They're just saying
No, you read.
20,000, is
Thomas,
it
you
too
rattled
much?
off a number of $6,000 per household. Was that city taxes or combined taxes? Because if you're taking the $6,000 of combined taxes and then adding all that up to $11 million, the county gets money, Hill College gets money. You understand? City, how much does the city get of that?
So the council, does the city has the will to work with the residents to fix the street, the street lights? That's the question.
did.
If we just keep using excuses to kick it down the road, that's another problem.
We're giving instruction right now, and I'm
Thank
trying to
you.
get the 4 addresses, and we got the 4 addresses.
Now, the city secretary has the intersections.
I don't. We don't have that.
Yeah, he emailed it to her, so
I emailed
staff
it.
has
I
it,
don't
so they
have
can
it.
do the
I don't have
research.
it. I don't have it.
We can have her forward it to you.
It'd be great. It'd been nice if we'd have had it before this meeting.
Yeah.
Because I've got a map with 21 or more lights to be put in. And my residents don't want 21 lights. I represent Ward 3.
Oh.
Okay? Now, if they want 1 or 2, great. But I talked to them, they said, you want 21 lights in your neighborhood? They go, no. So we're talking apples and oranges. We want to get it fixed. We just gave direction to get it fixed.
Okay.
Don, didn't you say of those 4 entrances, 2 of them already have lights at them?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's in my email. I did mention those two have lights, but there's a request in the email, even though it's not on our agenda discussion here. So you might work with the city secretary to give you that.
Be nice if we saw that stuff. Thomas, can you send it to us? I mean, can you not send stuff to us that you send to the city secretary?
You can
Sent it
request.
to her
you can
following the
request.
last meeting when he was requesting for the item to be on the agenda,
So
I
I'm
think is what
supposed to
he's.
request something that I don't know about?
He requested it during a meeting. She came back and said, can you send me the addresses? And then he emailed her the addresses. That's why they went just to her. He said it during the meeting, at the end of a meeting for future items on the agenda.
So
Yes,
she's
I
been real good.
apologize.
And she wanted a
We tried
list.
We tried to condense the addresses into subdivisions rather than listing, because the agenda item was extremely long. So
I can imagine.
my fault for trying to make things concise, but I'll be happy to send the list that he gave me to all of
Okay.
council.
There you go.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 7D. Review, discuss, and consider action on an update to Keene Code of Ordinance, Section 72.10, parking certain vehicles, trailers, and mobile homes within zoning districts and on city-owned property.
Council members, mayor, I believe a couple months ago, the council wanted to discuss this ordinance, specifically 72.10, letter C, which relates to trailers being parked on the roadway. Currently, this ordinance allows a trailer to be on the roadway up to 72 hours before it must be moved. So what would you like to discuss?
I know we've talked about this, and we both kind of agree that there's kind of a loophole in the system that as long as it's removed within a 24-hour period or gone for 24 hours, that process can start right back over again, which, I mean, essentially that just means that I just move my trailer from my house to Rob's house, back to my house, you know, I take it over to Easley's house, I bring it to Gutwa's house, back to my house, you know, and so I'm just trying
Don't move it to my house.
I didn't mention that, Mayor.
Thank
So-
you.
So I'm just I want to try to minimize the unsightliness, I guess. And of course, yes, it did happen, you know, I got a notice because I had my boat on the side of my street, or on the street. And when the notice came, you know, I had 10 days to move it, but even that didn't really qualify with what the ordinance said. So the city gave me more time to move it than what was technically allowed, which I appreciated that, and I'm sure they just did it as a courtesy, but now I'm just trying to, like, I feel like we need to squash this thing and make it a little bit stronger, so then that way it is more of a deterrent to leave those things on the street for safety purposes, because we've talked and you said, well, the reasons for this is because, you know, cars being able to see around a larger trailer of some sort would be, you know, could be a safety hazard. And so I'm just trying to make this a little more aggressive so that way it's a little more strict, so that way it's a little more powerful.
So what I'm hearing is basically the enforcement aspect of it. And you bring a valid reason, because a lot of these cities struggle with this because they find loopholes. And what you're discussing is a 24-hour resetting period. So you can keep a trailer on the roadway for 72 hours, then you have to take it off for a full 24 hours, put it back on the roadway to reset it. Some cities keep track of it yearly, which is, I'm sure, extremely difficult. Some cities put in legal verbiage to be able to do, it's like a continuous violation verbiage they put in there. So do y'all like the 72 hours? Of course, the citizens, we want to be compassionate, but there's also a danger and a risk when a roadway is not used for storage. It increases accidents, the unsightly clutter, all kinds of stuff. So there's always going to be people pushing the issue or whatever with loopholes, but they're going to reset it. So is there any suggestion, or are you just going to ask us to see if there's any verbiage we can put in there to try to strengthen it? Mr. Foster?
Why not just take out the 24-hour reset? Just say you can be there for 72 hours, and then you get a citation.
There is.
Why not just make it 24 hours?
And that's all within y'all's privilege. You can make it 24, you can make it prohibited period, but I do want to be compassionate to our citizens because sometimes they need to unload and load, and it's temporary when you bring somebody that's urgent like that.
Well, I say that because I've got a trailer and I can't leave mine on the street for more than 24 hours. I make it every time. I don't need 72.
So that's something for y'all to discuss. The 72 hours is what y'all want, what the citizens want, and the enforcement part of it. We can remove the 24-hour reset fee. Go ahead.
And Chief,
Reset time.
I think when we were reviewing this, something that was kind of interesting to me too is that you're not allowed to park your trailer in front of somebody else's house. Is
Right,
that
it
correct?
needs to be in front of your own.
Needs to be in front of your own
Yeah.
property.
And so that's, you know, there's some violations there too going on.
And that verbiage is actually in here as well, what you just mentioned. And I understand the 24-hour thing because the HOA and, you know, pristine communities. I do want to give the citizens a little bit more grace. You know, if you come back from a trip on a Sunday night, last thing you want to do is stay up all night trying to unload everything. So you need a Monday and maybe Tuesday because you're going back to work. But I think 72 hours should be very sufficient to get people to remove that trailer and put it back in storage or back over at their grandma's house, whatever, you know.
I'd say we just get rid of the 24-hour turnaround and just leave it at 72 hours and it has to be moved.
Okay, that's something we can research then, but we'll have to have the legal verbiage and make sure it doesn't contradict anything else in our ordinance, and that's where our city attorney will come in.
A quick follow-up question in regards to that. If we remove the 24-hour thing, how does that, I mean, I know code compliance is going to be the one to want to review that, right? So if a trailer, let's say a trailer there is Monday, well, code enforcement doesn't go there until Tuesday. So now they have technically until Thursday night to get, to remove that. And then if they don't, then what does that do for you guys? Does that ultimately impact you guys as far as enforcement wise, or is that still a city will respond and send a violation notice? Is that gonna impact you guys serving our community?
No, it doesn't.
The
impact
police?
us. Unless it's parked illegally, then we'll take action on it. If it's just a code violation, then it's when it's first noticed.
Okay.
So a trailer can be out there for like 3 days, but until somebody complains, we notice it, then it doesn't start until code enforcement goes ahead and starts that process.
Okay.
Mr. Bull, would you like to speak?
Just real quick regarding the trailers, okay? Because I've towed trailers many, many years now, on and off, for construction as well as other businesses as well. Think about how you get this code set up. Not saying it's not needed, but you will absolutely be affecting many small business owners. I know you have a trailer that you have quite frequently. Let's just say you have a job where you don't need that for 2 or 3 days, and you're not able to get that back up, or you want to go on vacation and you park it out front of your home. So remember, we have a lot of small business owners in this town that they travel outside of Keene with their trailers, and there are going to be times, especially around holiday times, where they are going to be there longer than 72 hours. So just keep that in mind when you're making that code, okay? With whatever you guys discuss.
Thank you.
Thanks. I have 4 trailers, and I live in a subdivision. I have them parked at my mother's house, construction sites. I actually changed my back fence so I could get in the backyard. I have a question about item 4, combination of connected vehicles, including trailers. Is that a truck pulling a trailer? Has 70, okay. So like Mr. Smith and myself, we both own trailers, we both own small businesses. Overnight's not a problem. We're looking at 72 consecutive hours. Am I correct, guys? Okay, so, yeah, good point, Caleb.
So we need a consensus on this, Mayor?
Go ahead. What? I'm sorry.
I just asked if you wanted a consensus to give staff direction.
Yeah, we just have direction to staff on this. Yeah, consider action on an update, so yeah. Do you have a suggestion?
Yeah, I say we just leave it at 72 hours, but take out the 24-hour loophole.
Yeah. We need to add a Cousin Eddie loophole.
Okay. All right, everybody else agree with that? Leave it at 72 hours and take out the 24-hour loophole?
Yeah.
And then go ahead and direct staff to change this ordinance and bring it back to us, maybe under consent?
Sure.
And then we'll discuss it if needed? Okay, we're all good? Okay, we're going to give direction to staff. Do y'all understand? Okay.
And Mr. Easley, real quick, just maybe this would give us some peace of mind for what we do. But in section A, it does say, with a rated capacity in excess of 1.5 tons. So if it's less than that, then it's allowed based on what I'm reading here. If it's in excess of that, then that would apply.
So if you'd have left a vehicle hooked up to your boat, you'd have been okay?
Not to a boat, because it's not talking about boats, but it's talking about box trucks, trailers, truck and trailer, semi-trailer.
Boats on a trailer.
Mr. Bull, you want to come back up and say something about that?
It doesn't say boat trailer, but it does say boat trailer in section B.
Yeah, but people argue that the boat's sitting on a trailer, and that's what's tagged is the trailer sitting on the ground. Go ahead.
Okay, so here's another idea for you with this, okay? It's obviously for legal business owners, okay? Having a permit set up with the city where those people can have a permit and they just have to notify through an email or whatever that, hey, this trailer's gonna be here for this long or whatever. Again, just with a permit for legal business owners. That rules out people like me who have a small trailer, but I can park mine on my own driveway. But that would protect the small business owners a lot more than just that straight 72 hours. I know Ray doesn't always work for 3 or 4 days sometimes, so.
Yeah, he uses the cemetery for parking.
Would anybody like to look into that? Possibly doing a permit for legal business owners?
Well, and with this software that we're looking at to try to better the customer experience, that is online permitting and stuff. Like, I wouldn't want to do that the way we're currently set up, because Amber's got her plate full just trying to keep this community
Okay.
growing. But if it's something we can automate and streamline like we're working on, then I could see that as being a good option too. So thank you.
Yeah.
In fact, actually, we can, if we wanted to, we could make those, and I know we're kind of getting a little off topic, but we can make it like a 90-day permit, 30-day permit, or a yearly permit, so then that way it's a little more feasible, instead of like, it's $15 a day to leave that thing in front of your house,
Yeah, but the whole point of this is a safety factor, you know?
Yeah, that would get,
Okay.
it'll get convoluted.
Okay, Mayor.
Mr.
Yeah, I know as a city we are growing, and there's a growth pain and all things that comes with that. I'm sorry to repeat it again. I know Councilman Troy Smith doesn't like to hear this, but I've been talking to most of the residents actually. And some of them do get affected by this policy. I'll agree with our chief, the police chief, that we need to take some time and look into it and don't fall into this trap. We have done that for some time. Copy paste from other cities and just call it good. And then we find out that it doesn't work with the residents here, because some of the cities they have come from, those were the things that were making them actually leave. Some of the things that, we want to make every city the same, but sometimes they are not the same. Even though we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we want to make it so it can work for the city. As Kayla Ball has said, that we need to actually make sure that we are working with the small business owners. And when we talk about permit, that's tax. It's a fancy name of tax. You have to pay $15, $10, because that's an overhead for the staff. So, yeah, I think we need to look at how other cities are doing it, but also bring in these ideas that we have shared in this room to see if it can be able to work for Keene, so it doesn't cause more friction, because I'm seeing some other ordinances we have that most of the residents here are not happy with, because we either copied and pasted and it doesn't work. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to agenda item number 7E, review, discuss, and consider action on canceling or rescheduling the regular city council meeting that falls on January 1st, 2026.
I'd say we just cancel it. I mean,
We can either
It's
cancel it, or
January
we can
1st.
book it for the third Thursday of the month, or give the city manager the option to call one if there's business that needs to be
we
taken
can
care of, or
schedule one for the third Thursday, and if we don't need it,
we can
cancel
just
it.
skip it.
Yeah,
That's what
We have
that's what we put it in place for.
yeah.
You have a planning and zoning meeting where they are going to be approving a plat, so for timely manner's sake, it is going to have to come to us for approval as well.
Plat and an offer, and I know that, case in point with Metal Plate, their goal is to have their manufacturing facility up by the end of next year. So, he would love to see this get passed through sooner than later, and I have no doubt it'll for sure be ready by the 18th.
So I'll make a motion that we reschedule the January 1st.
15th, sorry.
Can we do the 8th?
I'm sorry, I was speaking, Mr. City Manager.
I'm sorry, Councilman Foster, sorry.
I'm out of town the 8th.
Okay.
You said the 15th.
Go ahead,
Okay.
continue, sorry. I was trying to sneak that in there before he did it.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to reschedule the January 1st, 2026 regular council meeting to January 15, 2026 at 6 p.m. by Foster. Do I have a second? Second?
Is that going to work in the timeline for getting the things done? Okay.
Okay, we have a second on the floor by Shaw. All in favor, raise your hand. It's unanimous, motion is carried. All right. Agenda item number 8, executive session. We are going into executive session to discuss Just one item. Okay, consultation with attorney, 551.071 and 551.074, personnel matters. Review of the city manager's contract. All right, it is 8:39 PM. We are convening into executive session, 8:39. All right, I'm going to reconvene the meeting at 9:51 PM. All right, we have action to take from our executive session item, so I'm going to call for a motion. Do I have a motion, council, to approve the city manager's contract with one change to add a 3% retroactive COLA raise beginning November 1st, 2025?
I make a motion that we accept it.
Okay.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Shaw and a second by Smith. All in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion is carried.
God bless it.
Thank you, council.
Okay. Item number agenda 10, requests for future agenda items. Just a reminder, our next meeting will be January 18?
15.
15, already forgot. January 15. Okay. Request for future agenda items for January 15.
So I was talking to some residents out at North Hills Estates, and they had requested looking at putting a speed bump out there on whatever street it is that goes from 3048 up to, what is it, 804B? 805B, yeah. Well, the one that goes straight through.
North Hill Terrace goes straight through and Dorothy goes straight through.
Okay, pick one.
Put one on both of them. Yeah. Just study it, study it. Yeah, just look at it.
All right, anything else, council? All right, do I have a motion to adjourn? All right, meeting is adjourned at 9:53 PM.